Chapter 1909. In fact, Lin Feng was more inclined to believe that the god of thunder and the immemorial dragonesque elephant had fallen. This was because all the things that had happened indicated that they had indeed fallen. First of all, Lin Feng had obtained the demonic orb, which was originally a treasure from the immemorial dragonesque elephant. Unless the immemorial dragonesque elephant had fallen, who else could have taken this treasure away from him? Secondly, there was the appearance of the Thunder City. This was an ancient city built by the god of thunder, and it was also the city where the god of thunder had lived in the past. The god of thunder's most devout followers lived here. Now, the Thunder City had become a ghost town, and it was so strange. If the god of thunder was really alive, how could he have made the city he built become like this? Therefore, when Lin Feng recalled the conversation between the god of thunder and the immemorial dragonesque elephant, he felt that it was a conversation from hundreds of millions of years ago. It was just that it had reappeared in front of his eyes after hundreds of millions of years. Lin Feng did not know what had killed the god of thunder, but now that the Thunder City had become so strange, Lin Feng felt that it might have something to do with the god of thunder's fall back then. He continued to walk in the ancient city, and not long after, Lin Feng heard screams. When he went over, there were already dozens of cultivators gathered here. These cultivators gathered in front of him, discussing the strange things they had seen with solemn expressions. When Lin Feng went over, his expression changed slightly. There were dozens of puddles of blood on the ground, but there were no corpses. The dead people had disappeared without a trace. "We were a step too late. We couldn't see the murderer," someone said. "How did they die? Were they killed by someone? Or were they killed by something unclean?" Someone said. Many people's expressions were uncertain because the situation in front of them was too strange. At this time, a cultivator sneered and said, "I'm more willing to believe that these people died by someone's hand. In this world, the most terrifying thing is not demons, monsters, or evil spirits, but the human heart." This cultivator's words caused many people to ponder. Indeed, just as he said, the most terrifying thing in this world was the human heart. The cultivator continued, "After killing and robbing, creating some strange things and causing chaos is not a difficult thing for many people." Many people nodded, feeling that this cultivator's words made sense. Even though the ancient city is strange, we don't need to be afraid. I'm sure that all of you have Buddhist or Taoist treasures with you. Take them out and protect yourselves. It's fine if those demons and monsters don't come, but if they do come, with so many of us and the Buddhist treasures we have, we can annihilate them. The cultivator continued. His voice was sonorous and powerful, capable of stirring up the emotions of others. Many people took out their Buddhist or Taoist magic treasures one after another, such as Buddhist kasayas, wooden fish, Buddhist scriptures, and other treasures. Taoist robes, talismans, horsetail whisks, and other treasures. All the treasures that could restrain evil spirits and evil spirits were taken out by the cultivators. Then, they either wore them on their bodies or held them in their hands. Lin Feng, on the other hand, took out the Bodhi bead and the All Manifestations Golden Buddha. These two treasures would definitely play a key role in the battle if they were to encounter any terrifying divine spirits. The group of people walked together, heading deeper into the city. Not long after, they met some other cultivators one after another. Woo woo woo, that eerie sobbing sound still did not dissipate. "I cry for the king in front of the yellow mud platform." Vaguely, there seemed to be a sorrowful voice mixed in with the sobbing sound. Many people heard it and couldn't help but feel their scalps go numb. "Did you guys hear that voice? What did it say?" Someone said. Many people shook their heads, not hearing the specific content clearly. Lin Feng said, "I cry for the king in front of the yellow mud platform." His heart was not calm at all. What did this sentence mean? Lin Feng immediately asked the Demon Lord and the Black Bear Devil King, but they did not know what it meant either. The Demon Lord was only left with a portion of his remnant soul. He had lost his memories and could not remember many things. As for the Black Bear Devil King, although he followed the Chong Lu Great Emperor in the past, however, the Chong Lu Great Emperor died not long after becoming an emperor. Therefore, there were many secrets that the Black Bear Devil King did not come into contact with. Therefore, the Black Bear Devil King was not very clear about many things. However, The three words, yellow mud platform, left a deep impression on Lin Feng. He felt that the yellow mud platform was extremely extraordinary and must represent something terrifying and mystical. Therefore, he kept an eye on it. Cry for the king in front of the yellow mud platform? What is the yellow mud platform? Cry for the king? Is it crying for her husband? Someone said. Everyone shook their heads. No one knew what the true meaning of this sentence was. They could not simply interpret this sentence from its literal meaning. That would be too one-sided. The sobbing sound soon quieted down. Just like what had happened before, the sobbing sound did not sound out all the time. It would only appear again after a period of silence. Lin Feng and the others walked deeper into the city. Their group grew in number. Originally, there were only a few dozen people, but it did not take long for 300 to 400 people to gather. Chapter 19:10. Everyone rushed forward. Soon, they arrived at an intersection and found nearly 100 people lying on the ground. There were more than 20 cultivators who had escaped and 70 or 80 people who had chased after them. These people were all lying in a pool of blood. Why are they all dead? It's like they died instantly. Is this man-made? Or did something unclean appear? Many people were horrified. If there had been a fight and so many people had died, they might not have been so frightened. But now there was no fight. After a scream, everyone's lives had gone to the yellow springs. This was too strange. Anyone who saw such a thing would feel their hair stand on end. Some people wanted to go forward and check the cultivators' corpses, but the old Taoist shouted, "Wait, don't touch those corpses for now." The cultivators who wanted to check the corpses all stopped. Taoist methods had always been mysterious, so ordinary cultivators were very respectful to Taoist experts. "Taoist, what did you find?" someone asked, praying that they wouldn't find anything terrifying. The old Taoist observed for a long time, then pointed at the corpses and said, "Look, these corpses are all facing down. It's too strange." Everyone looked over and found that the corpses were all facing down. If the old Taoist hadn't said anything, no one would have noticed it. "Taoist, facing down, what does it mean?" someone asked with a trembling voice. The old Taoist said, "This is called burial ground." Burial ground? What does that mean? Many people were puzzled. Lin Feng heard the words burial ground and couldn't help but change color. He had heard Taoist Wu Liang mention burial ground before. Taoist Wu Liang had once told Lin Feng something he had experienced. It was something that happened many years ago. Taoist Wu Liang had found an ancient tomb, so he entered the tomb to look for treasures. After entering the tomb, he saw a huge burial pit. This kind of burial pit was relatively rare. When an emperor died, there would often be many palace maids, eunuchs, and even ministers and concubines buried with him. When some people from large families died, there would also be servants and maids buried with them. Although it was inhumane to be buried with others, it was something that could not be prohibited. However, the tomb that immeasurable Taoist had entered was very different. The people who were buried with him were not cremated or buried. Instead, they were all facing downwards. This method of burial was called burial earth. It was said that this burial method was not as simple as simply being buried with the dead. It was also a type of sacrifice. It was equivalent to a very special sacrifice. By sacrificing these offerings, with expectations, one day, the owner of the tomb could be resurrected. When the dead were resurrected, they would be nothing more than evil corpses, ghost corpses, or ghost corpses. Therefore, burial earth was the most preferred method of burial for evil cultivators. Back then, the immeasurable Taoist had encountered a ghost corpse in the tomb. The only fortunate thing was that the ghost corpse had just evolved. His strength was limited. In the end, he was burned to death by Taoist Wu Liang using the true Samadhi fire of Taoism. Now, a burial ground had appeared in this place. That was terrifying. Lin Feng said, "It seems that we have to leave Thunder City. No matter what treasures there are in Thunder City, we should not be greedy." The old Taoist nodded. He had the same idea as Lin Feng and planned to leave Thunder City. Many people asked the old Taoist what burial earth was, but the old Taoist did not answer at all. Burial earth itself was a secret. The old Taoist would at most tell the people around him its name. As for what burial earth was, he naturally would not tell others. Lin Feng and the old Taoist left. Many cultivators followed behind them and headed out of the ancient city. However, there were also many people who did not leave. What are you afraid of? There are so many cultivators in Thunder City. Why would we be afraid of evil spirits? Those cultivators said. If they were to leave now, they would naturally be unwilling because there were too many treasures in Thunder City. Treasure troves were one after another. Moreover, the Thunder God's legacy, magic treasures, and even this Thunder City were all ownerless items. Naturally, many people were eyeing them covetously. This group of people quickly headed towards the depths of the city. However, they did not even walk 100 meters. Thump, thump, thump. One by one, the cultivators fell to the ground without a sound. These people were exactly the same as those who had died before. Their faces were all facing down. Burial earth appeared again. It was extremely strange. Little friend, how should I address you? The old Taoist narrowed his eyes and looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at the old Taoist warily because this old Taoist actually knew about burial earth. What did this mean? This meant that this old Taoist must have visited other people's burial grounds. Taoists were more noble and virtuous. Therefore, Taoists usually would not go to places like burial grounds. However, there was a type of Taoist who would go there. Mountain-moving Taoist, who searched for dragon veins, set tombs, and dug up ancestral graves. Therefore, Lin Feng suspected that this old Taoist in front of him was mountain-moving Taoist. Facing the old Taoist's question, Lin Feng said without batting an eyelid, I heard a friend mention it before. The old Taoist looked at Lin Feng meaningfully and nodded. In front of the yellow platform, I cry for the king. Suddenly at this time, the crying sound once again resounded in Lei City. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. Thunder City was really a strange place. Leave Thunder City tonight and come back tomorrow during the day, someone said. During the day, nothing strange happened in Thunder City. It was mainly at night. It was really scary. Soon, Lin Feng and the rest arrived at the city gate. What made them change their expressions was, the gate of Thunder City was actually closed. Not good. The gate of Thunder City is closed. We can't get out. Many people cried out in horror. The atmosphere suddenly became incomparably heavy. The gate of Thunder City was closed. This meant that everyone was trapped inside. Thunder City is too strange. Lin Feng took a deep breath. What exactly happened in the past that made Lei Cheng become so strange? Also, why would Thunder God's land of inheritance appear in the ultimate battlefield? Everything was a mystery. Whoosh! Suddenly, waves of cold wind blew in Thunder City. Many people looked at the old Taoist with uncertain expressions. Senior, what should we do now? Many people asked. They no longer had any ideas and could only place their hopes on the old Taoist. The old Taoist said indifferently, misfortune is a blessing in disguise. The old Taoist walked inside, and many people followed behind him. Chapter 1911. The sudden appearance of the blood-red clothed woman caused Lin Feng's expression to change abruptly. Taoist priest! Lin Feng shouted. The old Taoist priest turned his head and looked at Lin Feng. He saw where Lin Feng was pointing. However, it was already empty. What do you want me to see? The old Taoist priest looked at Lin Feng in confusion. Everyone also looked at Lin Feng in confusion. Lin Feng said, I saw a cat. What the? Many people couldn't help but roll their eyes. Was a cat worth making a fuss about? Wait a minute. A cat? Where did the cat come from? Are you sure you didn't see wrongly? Someone asked. I don't think so. Let's go and take a look. Lin Feng said. Everyone nodded and followed Lin Feng to the left side of the street. After arriving there, they didn't find anything. Maybe it's a pet kept by some cultivator, someone explained, easing the tense and oppressive atmosphere. The rest of the people also nodded. They were more willing to believe this explanation from the bottom of their hearts. In this dangerous place, they really didn't want to experience any more strange things. Lin Feng didn't say anything about the blood-red clothed woman, because this would cause panic. Everyone walked towards the interior of Thunder City. At this time, the old Taoist priest deliberately stayed at the back and asked softly, What did you see? The old Taoist priest obviously didn't believe Lin Feng's excuse of seeing a cat before. Lin Feng said, "I saw a blood-red clothed woman." The old Taoist priest's expression suddenly changed. He took a deep breath and said, "The situation in Thunder City is much more complicated than we thought. Don't tell anyone about this matter, in order to avoid causing more panic." Lin Feng nodded. At this time, the old Taoist priest took out a copper bell. He gently shook the copper bell. Then, he heard the clear clanging sound of the copper bell. Lin Feng found that the copper bell in the old Taoist's hand was not simple. The bell was surrounded by dense runes, and it was obviously an extremely powerful treasure. "This is the soul-suppressing bell. I hope it can scare away those evil things," the old Taoist said. Lin Feng asked, "Taoist priest, do you think something terrifying will happen tonight?" "Look at the moon." The old Taoist pointed at the sky. "Full moon." Lin Feng was shocked. The divine servant's aged face suddenly appeared in his mind, and he thought of the divine servant's awe-inspiring gaze as he sized him up. Lin Feng's body couldn't help but tremble. At that time, the divine servant had said that the night of the full moon was approaching. At that time, Lin Feng felt that the divine servant mentioning the full moon was an extremely strange matter. Right now, the full moon arrived. However, something strange was happening in Thunder City. Did the divine servants already know what was about to happen? Now, Lin Feng was starting to doubt the identity of the divine servant. Such a powerful cultivation. Was he really just a divine servant? Lin Feng was starting to have doubts. He felt that the divine servant's identity wasn't simple, but he didn't know what the divine servant's identity was. The group continued to walk deeper into the city. I was born before the yellow clay platform. Not long after, the sound of crying once again resounded above the ancient city. It was so mournful. Just who was crying? Lin Feng's expression was extremely ugly. Today was the night of the full moon, and his mood was heavy. "Look in front." One of the cultivators pointed to the front. Everyone walked over with solemn expressions. One cultivator after another died tragically. All of them were lying face down. "Burial ground?" Lin Feng coldly spat out these two words. It seemed that all the cultivators who died in Thunder City died in this way. They became sacrifices. "Heavens, earth, I beg the heavens to protect me. Please don't let demons and ghosts find me." Some cultivators were so scared that their faces turned pale, and they began to pray. But what was the use of praying? Perhaps it was more of a comfort to the soul. Where the burial ground appears, it must be a place where great evil is born. In Thunder City, I'm afraid there are unimaginable and terrifying creatures buried there. These are all sacrifices. The old Taoist said, "We should go and find those giant God Realm old antiques. They are strong enough to deal with all kinds of dangers." Lin Feng said. The old Taoist nodded. He also agreed with Lin Feng's words. The most important thing now was to find those giant God Realm experts and follow them. Even if something terrible happened, he would still be able to survive. There would also be giant God Realm experts who would take action. There was a saying that even if the sky collapsed, there would be someone tall to hold it up. Then, the group of cultivators united and walked deeper into the city. They wanted to find those giant God Realm experts. Along the way, they saw many cultivators who died tragically. These cultivators were all lying face down. Their deaths were more tragic than the last, and it made one's hair stand on end. When they passed by the intersection of two streets, suddenly, a cold wind swept through the world. Many people were blown to other places. Lin Feng quickly took out the hurricane pearl and stabilized his body with great difficulty. He looked around and found that everyone had disappeared. Damn it! Lin Feng couldn't help but curse. The cold wind was getting stronger and stronger. He held the hurricane pearl in his hand and ran wildly in the cold wind. He tried to find other people, especially the old Taoist. This old Taoist was most likely a mountain-moving Taoist. The mountain-moving Taoist had many unimaginable abilities. If he was with the old Taoist, it was the safest. If something really happened, he could also deal with it with the old Taoist. But after searching for a long time, Lin Feng still couldn't find the old Taoist. A corpse blew over and landed at Lin Feng's feet. Lin Feng looked at the corpse and found that the corpse had no face. His facial features had all disappeared. It was really strange. Later, Lin Feng checked the other corpses and found that they had all lost their facial features. How did these dead people lose their facial features? The burial ground is really strange. Lin Feng's expression was solemn. He continued to run deeper. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt a cold aura enveloping him. Behind, something seemed to have appeared. Go, go, go! Lin Feng didn't dare to hesitate and ran crazily into the distance. He stepped on all sides of the world. His speed had reached its limit. However, he found that he couldn't get rid of the unknown creature chasing after him. Suddenly, Lin Feng saw a corpse in front of him. When he saw the corpse, his expression changed drastically. Wasn't this the first corpse he saw? Although Lin Feng had seen many corpses without facial features, from the clothes, body shape, clothing, and a series of other details, he could still tell that this was the first corpse he saw. Ghost hitting the wall? Lin Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. This was troublesome. He had encountered a ghost hitting the wall. Ta, 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 ta. The sound of footsteps came from behind. Lin Feng didn't continue to run. He held the two treasures, the Bodhi bead and the 1,000-form golden Buddha, in his hands. Then, he turned around with difficulty and looked behind him. What Lin Feng didn't expect was that the one who appeared behind him. It was actually the divine servant. Little friend, we meet again. The divine servant said sinisterly. That pair of sinister eyes carefully sized up Lin Feng, as if he was looking at a treasure. His eyes were shining. The gaze of the divine servant. Lin Feng's heart suddenly sank. Chapter 1912. Lin Feng said without batting an eyelid. Yes, what a coincidence. I didn't expect to see Senior here. In truth, Lin Feng really wanted to curse the old man in his heart. Why do I have to see an old fart like you here? I can tell with a single glance that you're not a good person. Of course, he only dared to curse in his heart. He definitely did not dare to curse in front of the old man. If he cursed in front of the old man, wouldn't he be courting death? The divine servant laughed strangely and said, It's not a coincidence. I've come here specifically for you, young friend. You've come here for me? Lin Feng felt a chill run down his spine. As expected, this old fart was up to no good. What was he planning to do by coming here for him? Lin Feng's expression turned extremely grave. He looked at the divine servant warily and asked, Senior, is there something you need from me? The divine servant smiled sinisterly and said, Of course. I want to talk about life with you. F***ck your life. Even if I want to talk about life with someone, it'll be with a pretty girl. Who would want to talk about life with an old fart? Lin Feng cursed in his heart. However, no matter how much he cursed, he could only keep it in his heart and not say it out loud. He looked at the divine servant with a fake smile and said, What does Senior want to talk about? The divine servant suddenly sighed and said, It's good to be young. Lin Feng said, Senior, you're still very young. Lin Feng felt a little embarrassed to say such words that went against his heart. I'm already old. I can't compare to a young man like you. Your life has only just begun. Lin Feng said, Senior's cultivation is heaven-defying. You'll definitely be able to change your fate and have an endless lifespan. The divine servant said, There's a problem with my body. I can no longer change my fate. At this point, the divine servant looked at Lin Feng again, sizing up Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine when he was stared at by the divine servant. The divine servant continued, You have a long lifespan, tens of millions of years. In the future, you might even have a lifespan of tens of millions of years. Your body is so powerful, your bloodline is so powerful, and your talent is unparalleled. Over the years, I have seen many amazing people, but only a handful of them can compare to you in terms of talent. Lin Feng said, Senior, you praise me too much. There are countless geniuses in the 9 prefectures, especially those on the prodigy list. Junior's talent is far from being comparable to theirs. The divine servant said, Little friend is too modest. Lin Feng said, I suddenly remembered that I have something to deal with, so I won't stay any longer. I'll take my leave first. After saying that, Lin Feng turned around and flew off into the distance. However, Lin Feng hadn't moved very far when he realized that he couldn't move anymore. His expression became incomparably ugly. The old man had imprisoned his body, making it difficult for him to move. This put Lin Feng in an extremely bad mood. He had a feeling that the old man was about to make a move, although Lin Feng didn't know what the old man was planning to do to him. "Senior, what is the meaning of this?" Lin Feng asked. The divine servant said, "Little friend, don't be in such a hurry to leave. This old man still has something to say to you." Lin Feng couldn't help but feel depressed. "Young master, I have nothing to do with you. Why do you have so much to say to me? Can't you find someone else to say it to?" After feeling depressed for a while, Lin Feng said, "Does Senior have any other orders?" "It's not an order. It's a conversation between equals, just like how old friends are." The divine servant laughed. He pointed at the sky and said, "Look, the full moon is starting to change." Lin Feng looked at the full moon in the sky. Sure enough, it was starting to change. The full moon was gradually turning into a blood-red moon. It was extremely strange. "Why is this happening?" Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. The divine servant said, "This is because the blood moon is often a sign that something terrifying is about to happen." Lin Feng frowned. The divine servant's words made a lot of sense. The blood moon was indeed often a sign. The divine servant continued, "But now, the blood moon represents something else." "What is it?" Lin Feng asked. "Kikik." The divine servant suddenly let out a sinister laugh. Lin Feng dared to swear that he had never heard such a sinister laugh before, even if it was the screams of malicious spirits or the weeping of evil spirits. None of them could compare to the divine servant's voice. If the divine servant was an evil corpse, Lin Feng didn't doubt it at all. A gloomy and cold chi surrounded Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng had the feeling that he was in hell. His heart trembled. Was the divine servant about to make a move? Suddenly, at that moment, the cold aura enveloping Lin Feng's body quickly dissipated. Lin Feng found that he could move again. He looked at the divine servant. He saw that the divine servant had turned his head and was looking at a street in front of him. Lin Feng also looked in that direction. On that street, a woman wearing a blood-red dress with her hair draped over her shoulders. She was looking in his direction. "It's her." Lin Feng was shocked. He had caught a glimpse of her at the city gate, but then she had disappeared without a trace. After that, she never appeared again. It was obvious that she had appeared in front of him again, which made Lin Feng extremely surprised and shocked. When the divine servant saw the blood-red dress woman, he acted as if he was facing a great enemy. He even ignored Lin Feng, who was beside him. "Should I use my sword to kill this old thing?" Lin Feng found that the divine servant's attention was on the blood-red dress woman, and his heart suddenly became active. From time to time, a ferocious look could be seen in his eyes. However, this thought was immediately dispelled. The divine servant's cultivation was too terrifying. Even if he used his sword to kill him, he probably wouldn't be able to hurt the divine servant. In the end, he would probably be killed by the divine servant with a single slap. So, it was better to be honest. Whoosh! The divine servant quickly flew away. He seemed to be very afraid of the blood-red dress woman. So, he didn't even care about Lin Feng and quickly left. Seeing the divine servant leave, Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. But when he thought of the blood-red dress woman in the distance, his heart that had finally calmed down was raised again. The blood-red dress woman was able to scare the divine servant away. From this, it could be seen how terrifying she was. If the blood-red dress woman attacked him, wouldn't it be a situation where he would definitely die? Lin Feng turned to look at the blood-red dress woman and found that she had disappeared without a trace. She left? Lin Feng was shocked, and then he frowned and fell into deep thought. Why did the blood-red dress woman appear beside him twice? Chapter 1913. The night was not peaceful, but fortunately, the night passed peacefully. When the darkness dissipated and the day arrived, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. "Hey, where are the corpses?" Lin Feng was puzzled. He found that many of the corpses lying on the ground had disappeared without a trace, which was extremely strange. Cultivators appeared one after another, and everyone heaved a sigh of relief. "Let's go to the city gate and see if we can get out," someone said. Many cultivators gathered together and walked towards the city gate. Yesterday's events had left a deep impression on everyone. There were already many cultivators who wanted to retreat. They did not want to continue staying in the Thunder City because the Thunder City was simply too dangerous. Moreover, many people had gained a lot after entering Thunder City. The most precious things were the Green Lotus, the Thunder God's orthodoxy, the Thunder God's magical treasures, and the ownership of Thunder City. However, these things were not something that ordinary cultivators could obtain. Therefore, many people decided to leave. As for these treasures, they could leave if they wanted to. Many cultivators understood that a man who was never content was like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. Coupled with the fact that Thunder City was too dangerous, this was the main reason why a large number of cultivators gathered together to leave Thunder City. However, when they arrived at the city gate, they found that the gate was still closed, which made many people's faces turn ugly. The gate was closed, and they could not leave. For a moment, everyone in Thunder City was in a state of panic. At this time, someone said, "The gate can't be closed all the time. Let's wait here. With so many of us gathered together, why should we be afraid of danger? If there is any danger, we can deal with it." "That's right. We have a lot of people. There is no need to worry." Then, there were other cultivators who responded. Lin Feng shook his head slightly. Those people's thinking was too simple. The dangers in Thunder City were much more terrifying than they had imagined. If something strange really happened, it would be useless for so many cultivators to gather here. Lin Feng walked towards the depths of Thunder City. It was useless to worry about it now. It was better to take advantage of this opportunity to continue looking for treasures. If he could find the Thunder God's orthodoxy and magical treasures, it would be even better. As for the ownership of Thunder City, Lin Feng did not think about it. The Thunder City was too strange, and it was not an easy task to control it. Under the lead of the Dragon Rabbit, Lin Feng found one treasure vault after another. There were all kinds of treasures in these treasure vaults: immortal iron, divine stone, heaven and earth treasures, etc. Everything was available. Some treasure vaults even had many magic treasures. Lin Feng found a total of 3 treasure vaults that stored magic treasures. In the 3 vaults, he found a total of about 10,000 divine artifacts. Lin Feng now had more than 20,000 deity-level magic weapons, which was enough to form a huge army. Of course, the rest of the treasures and resources were piled up like mountains. Therefore, it was necessary to raise a dragon rabbit, because this little guy could take you to find all kinds of hidden treasures. Although raising a dragon rabbit would consume countless natural treasures, as long as he could find an ancient treasury, he would be able to earn it back. More than 10 cultivators flew over from afar. Lin Feng looked from afar and discovered that they were the experts of the Kinwu people. He kept the dragon rabbit into his mountain river ring, turned around, and flew into the distance. Among the group of Golden Crow clan cultivators, there were 2 ancestor-level powerhouses. This was in existence at the peak of the Heavenly God stage. Lin Feng was still not a match for cultivators of this level. Naturally, he would not sit down and wait for death. "Brat, you killed our Kinwu people's people. You deserve to die 10,000 times." One of the Kinwu people's patriarchs said angrily, his killing intent soaring to the heavens. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent, and he coldly replied, "They were killed by me because they were not skilled enough. You didn't have the strength, yet you still came out to kill people and steal their treasures. You deserve to die. Let's see if you still have the same courage when we catch you later." The ancestor-level expert from the Golden Crow clan said in a cold voice. The group of Kinwu people quickly chased after Lin Feng, alarming many people along the way. Many people pointed at him and whispered. Many people looked at Lin Feng with pity. Being targeted by the Kinwu people would definitely not end well. Thunder City was very large, and Lin Feng finally managed to shake off the Kinwu people. "Hey, it's Enqing." Lin Feng saw a peerless beauty. Enqing was tall and slender, with fair skin and beautiful features. She was definitely a rare beauty. Of course, her identity was even more extraordinary. She was the Red World Fairy's eldest disciple, and her cultivation could be described as unfathomable. And King also saw Lin Feng and asked, "Are you planning to sell your dragon rabbit?" This woman had probably seen Lin Feng's dragon rabbit before this. Anyone who saw a treasure like the dragon rabbit would have thoughts about it. Lin Feng said, "Sorry, I'm not planning to sell it." And King said, "You seem to have encountered some trouble. Sell the dragon rabbit to me, and not only will you obtain a large amount of wealth, I can also help you solve the problem." Lin Feng said, "In my opinion, the dragon rabbit is no different from my family. No matter what difficulties I encounter, I will not seek refuge by selling the dragon rabbit." And King fell into deep thought. Lin Feng ignored King and quickly left. Not long after, several Qinwu people's experts found Lin Feng. Fortunately, there were no ancestor-level experts around. Although there were 2 heavenly gods, they were not enough to pose a threat to Lin Feng. Lin Feng killed 3 Qinwu people's experts, then shook off the other 2 heavenly gods and headed deeper into Thunder City. Boom! In the evening, a burst of astonishing energy fluctuation was transmitted from the depths of Thunder City. The Azure Lotus once again appeared in everyone's sight. Many experts rushed toward the Azure Lotus, wanting to fight for it. There were more than 20 ancestor-level experts, and there was also an expert like King. Although King was young, her strength was heaven-defying, and she was not any weaker than an ancestor-level expert. There was also someone like Underworld Child. He was a shocking genius with a supreme treasure that could contend against an ancestor-level existence. About 60 to 70 experts were fighting for the Azure Lotus. Those experts used powerful restrictions to seal off the void. The Azure Lotus was trapped, and it could not escape. A group of experts fought each other, and it was difficult to tell who would win. It was very rare to see so many experts fighting in a chaotic battle. However, these experts had already fought more than once for the sake of the Azure Lotus. Many cultivators stood in the distance and watched, not daring to get close for fear of being caught in the crossfire. Chapter 1914. Lin Feng was itching to make a move. He wanted to snatch the green lotus that was trapped in the void while those experts were fighting. However, he still remembered the words of the demon lord. The green lotus was very strange. He must not underestimate it. Therefore, Lin Feng was in a state of observation. The green lotus belongs to me. Underworld Child unleashed his godly might and summoned the golden sacred palace. This golden sacred palace was truly powerful and sent experts flying one after another. The golden temple was left behind by a holy spirit and was very powerful. Back then, the Underworld Child forcefully suppressed the artifact spirit of the golden temple and became the new owner of the golden temple. Now that the golden sacred palace was displaying its godly might, the Underworld Child gradually approached the Green Lotus Palace. This shocked Lin Feng. The Underworld Child's cultivation was really strong. He could actually unleash the power of the Golden Temple. Lin Feng estimated that he needed to be at least at the level of a patriarch to be able to unleash the power of the Golden Temple. As expected of the expert ranked second on the prodigy roll, his combat strength was heaven-defying. "Junior, you're courting death." Seeing that the Underworld Child was about to take the Green Lotus, many people roared in anger. With so many experts fighting for the Green Lotus, if a junior took it away, it would make many people feel like they had lost all faith. Boom, boom, boom. All kinds of powerful attacks bombarded the Underworld Child. All kinds of Dharma treasures also bombarded the Underworld Child. No matter how powerful the Underworld Child was, he could not block the attacks of so many experts. He had no choice but to temporarily avoid the attacks. The immortal medicine of immortality, the peerless green lotus. This treasure is mine. In the distance, a cultivator walked over. This cultivator was very mysterious. He was shrouded in a ball of golden light. His appearance could not be seen clearly. He took a step and appeared more than 10 miles away in the next moment. His speed was unbelievably fast. The mysterious cultivator took 3 steps and arrived beside the green lotus. Stop him! All the experts fighting for the Green Lotus were furious. How could they allow the Green Lotus to be taken away by someone else? Therefore, one expert after another attacked. All kinds of powerful attacks bombarded the Green Lotus. The power was enough to destroy the world. It was truly frightening. However, when all the attacks landed on the mysterious cultivator, a shocking scene unfolded before their eyes. All the attacks were repelled by the golden light surrounding the mysterious cultivator's body. Regardless of whether it was a divine ability attack or a magic treasure attack, all of them were reflected back. Such a method. Everyone turned pale with fright. The experts who had launched their attacks were all in a sorry state as they tried to block the rebounding attacks. Some of the unprepared cultivators were even injured by the reflected attacks. Giant God Realm. Many people looked at the mysterious cultivator in shock. To be able to instantly deflect the attacks of 60 to 70 top experts, other than Giant God Realm existences, other cultivators simply couldn't do this. Is this the battle prowess of a giant god? Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath, his heart filled with shock. He had heard someone mention it before. Even if they were at the peak of the heavenly god realm, although they were only a step away from the giant god realm. However, in front of a giant god cultivator, a peak celestial god cultivator was like an ant. They weren't on the same level at all. A giant god realm cultivator was a huge transformation, a huge leap. Once the transformation was successful, one's battle prowess would increase to a heaven-defying level. That was why giant god realm cultivators were so powerful. Many people didn't dare to attack anymore. If they still attacked a giant god realm expert, they would be courting death. Even a fearless existence like Underworld Child had a gloomy gaze at this moment. Although he was extremely unwilling, he didn't fight for it anymore. Because Underworld Child also knew very well what the words Giant God Realm represented. The mysterious cultivator didn't pay attention to the top experts around him. In the eyes of others, Underworld Child and the others were top experts, but in his eyes, they were probably just a little more powerful than ants. The mysterious cultivator reached out to grab the green lotus. His emotions fluctuated violently, and he was obviously very excited. This was a supreme treasure that could allow him to live a second life. It would be strange if he wasn't excited. For these giant God Realm experts, it was extremely difficult for them to break through to the great Emperor Realm. Since ancient times, over the long years, it was unknown how many giant god experts had appeared in the myriad of worlds. But great Emperor Realm cultivators could be counted with one's fingers. Even in the most glorious eras, such as the Primordial Era, Immortal Era, Primordial Era, Bronze Era, Stone Era, and so on, for dozens of great emperors to appear. It was already quite heaven-defying. But in those dazzling great eras, giant god realm cultivators were like carps crossing the river. Therefore, breaking through to the great Emperor Realm was too difficult. But after obtaining the green lotus, it was different. In this life, he had lived until old, and his lifespan was almost up. Perhaps he couldn't break through. At this time, he consumed the green lotus, returning to his youth, living another life. In his second life, he might be able to comprehend the mysteries of the great Emperor Realm and finally break through to the great Emperor Realm. It wasn't like this hadn't happened before. Seeing that the mysterious expert was about to take the green lotus, suddenly, the green lotus that was originally imprisoned began to grow larger. As the green lotus grew larger, all of the restrictions formed by the cultivators were destroyed. The green lotus swept towards the mysterious expert. Bang! Both sides collided. The mysterious expert of the giant god realm was sent flying. After seeing this scene, many people revealed looks of disbelief. That was an expert of the giant god realm. But now, he was actually sent flying by the green lotus. This green lotus was too abnormal, wasn't it? It was simply inconceivable. It was simply shocking. But this was the truth that happened in front of everyone's eyes. The expert of the giant god realm had a look of astonishment on his face. Obviously, he didn't expect to be sent flying by the green lotus. Demon Lord, this green lotus is so strong. Isn't this an immortal medicine? How can it be so powerful? Lin Feng asked Lin Feng. The Demon Lord said, "This green lotus seems to be a little different from ordinary immortal medicines. Look, the green lotus is opening." Suddenly, someone shouted. He pointed at the green lotus. The petals of the green lotus were opening one by one. This caused everyone's hearts to tremble. Was the green lotus about to bloom? As the petals of the green lotus gradually opened, The sound of the great Tao resounded through the world. This is the sound of the heavenly Tao resonating. Lin Feng was shocked. This green lotus was really too extraordinary. It was actually resonating with the heavenly Tao. Soon, the petals of the green lotus were completely open. A dense mass of energy appeared in everyone's sight. Everyone saw that within the dense mass of energy, there was actually a young girl curled up. Heavens, the green lotus gave birth to a fairy. Countless people roared in shock. The green lotus giving birth to a fairy was a story in myths and legends, and now it was actually happening. Chapter 1915. A fairy was born from the green lotus. She had yet to awaken, but she was already showing her immortal charm. Perhaps the reason why the green lotus was so powerful was related to this fairy. Now, this fairy appeared in everyone's sight. For everyone, their hearts were filled with shock. Perhaps we should call her a Holy Spirit, someone said, feeling that it was inappropriate to call her a fairy. It would be more accurate to call her a Holy Spirit, born from heaven and earth. It was a Holy Spirit. Of course, the green lotus was a celestial lotus. That woman was born from the celestial lotus. It was not strange to call her a fairy. Suddenly, the fairy opened her eyes. The dense light dissipated, and she appeared in front of everyone. This was a face so beautiful that it took people's breath away. She had an otherworldly temperament that was untainted by the mud. Her eyes were so pure that it made people's hearts tremble. There had never been a woman who could give Lin Feng such a shock. She was wearing a snow-white long dress, which accentuated the temperament of this fairy. A fairy born from the immortal medicine of immortality was truly unimaginable. Many people were guessing what cultivation level this fairy had. The reason why the green lotus was so powerful must have a lot to do with this fairy. Lin Feng couldn't help but admire the demon lord's foresight. The demon lord was indeed powerful. He could see the extraordinariness of the green lotus at a glance. Now, the green lotus had given birth to a fairy. It proved the demon lord's extraordinary power. Why are you all here? Why are you all looking at me? The fairy opened her mouth and looked at the surrounding cultivators with pure eyes. Many people were left speechless by the question. Wife, come here quickly. Those people have bad intentions towards you. Come into your husband's arms. Your husband will protect you. Lin Feng waved his hand. Was it really good to deceive such a pure and delicate little flower? Lin Feng asked himself and comforted himself. He was not deceiving her. He was protecting her. Lin Feng felt that he should have the obligation to protect such a pure little fairy sister. Of course, as a reward for protecting her, this fairy would give him the green lotus. That would be a happy ending. Damn, who is this kid? How could he be so shameless? Many people rolled their eyes and cast sidelong glances at Lin Feng. They even had the thought of slapping Lin Feng to death. He had seen shameless people before, but he had never seen such a shameless person. Wife, husband? Are you my husband? Fairy Maiden looked at Lin Feng and asked curiously. Many people almost fell to the ground. It couldn't be. Little fairy, aren't you too naive? You believe whatever others say. With such a pure personality, it was easy for her to be taken advantage of. Many people couldn't help but wail in their hearts. Then, they were incomparably regretful. Why didn't they take the initiative to say what Lin Feng had said? Perhaps not only would he be able to win the beauty's heart, but he would also be able to obtain the green lotus. Don't believe him. He's lying to you. Bastard. How dare you lie to such a pure little fairy? Are you even human? Many people cursed. Lin Feng curled his lips and said, When did I lie? She's not my wife now, but she might be in the future. I'm just calling her my wife in advance. Many people couldn't help but roll their eyes. How could a complete stranger call another person his wife in advance? What kind of logic was that? Why didn't the heavens send down divine lightning to strike this shameless guy to death? Brat, it's you. Die. At that moment, a voice filled with killing intent came from afar. More than 10 experts from the Kinwu people rushed toward Lin Feng. It's him. Kill him. The experts from Dragonblood City's Long family also discovered Lin Feng. Don't let him escape. Following that, the people from the Evil Dragon Palace also discovered Lin Feng. A group of cultivators from the Taishang immortal sect also saw Lin Feng and rushed toward Lin Feng. You're really lucky. But now, it seems like you've reached the end of the road. Wife, I'll leave first. See you later. Lin Feng waved at Fairy Maiden, then turned into a streak of light and rushed into the distance. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared without a trace. The experts from the various factions all chased after Lin Feng. Who the hell is that guy? How did he provoke so many factions to hunt him down? Many people looked at each other in dismay. Kinwu people, Dragonblood City's long family, Evil Dragon Palace, Taishang Immortal Sect. Which one of them wasn't a famous faction? Yet, it was all because of a young cultivator. They made such a big fuss. It was truly inconceivable. That guy is Lin Feng from the Reincarnation Immortal Sect. Someone said, what? He's Lin Feng? The Lin Feng who killed Lei Shaoli and Li Xiuyan, and who knows what strange method he used to kill Lei Wanli and Gong Yuanrui. That's right, it's him. This guy caused such a huge disaster in the Sinkhole Sea region, yet he still dares to come to Thunder City. He's really not afraid of death. Indeed, he's not afraid of death. Moreover, he seems to have provoked the experts from the Kinwu people and the Evil Dragon Palace. However, he's still alive after offending so many factions. That's really inconceivable. That's right. However, it'll be hard for him to escape today. Many people began to discuss among themselves. With so many experts chasing after Lin Feng, it wouldn't be easy for him to escape. If he was in the outside world, it would be more troublesome for him to escape. However, in Thunder City, it was much simpler. This was because Thunder City was filled with dangerous places. Some courtyards were extremely dangerous, while some courtyards were densely covered with restrictions. If Lin Feng hid in one of them, it would be easy for him to deceive everyone. Therefore, even though the experts from the various factions were searching for Lin Feng's whereabouts, however, Lin Feng still managed to evade them. Night fell. It was the second night since they entered Thunder City. Lin Feng walked out of the courtyard where he was hiding. Hiding in the courtyard at night wasn't necessarily safe. It might be better outside. Lin Feng looked up at the sky and saw the moon appear again. What made his expression change slightly was that the moon today was still a full moon. There should only be one full moon every month. Why is the moon today still a full moon? Lin Feng frowned. The Demon Lord said, it's because of this Thunder City. Perhaps there's an inexplicable connection between the moon and Thunder City. I'm guessing that if you want to open the gates of Thunder City again, you'll have to wait for the moon to return to normal. And Lin Feng nodded. Not long later, the full moon in the sky turned into a blood moon. In Thunder City, the gloomy atmosphere was dense. Suddenly, a mournful cry came from one of the courtyards. Lin Feng was alarmed because the courtyard was very close to him. It was only a few hundred meters away. He looked towards the courtyard and discovered that dark red blood was flowing out from the courtyard. This made him shiver, and he wanted to leave quickly. Suddenly, a gloomy aura spread out from the courtyard. Following that, it enveloped his body. Chapter 1916. Lin Feng felt his hands and feet turn cold, his body almost unable to move. This feeling was too terrible. Some terrifying evil spirit appeared in the courtyard, causing all the cultivators in the courtyard to die and blood to flow out. Now, that terrifying and strange evil spirit must be targeting him. This made Lin Feng's face turn ugly. What exactly is it? He scanned the surroundings with his divine sense, but found nothing. Lin Feng's heart became heavier as he realized that the cold aura shrouding his body was getting stronger. Lin Feng hurriedly operated the immemorial dragonesque elephant art. His body regained its mobility, and he took out the 1,000-form golden Buddha. This treasure was activated, and the Buddha's light surged out. The 1,000-form golden Buddha floated above Lin Feng. The Buddha's light formed a defensive light to protect him. Clang, clang. Then, a terrifying scene appeared. In the darkness, something seemed to be attacking the defensive light shield protecting Lin Feng. The light shield formed by the Buddha's light trembled violently and was about to crack. This was the defensive light shield strengthened by the 1,000-form golden Buddha. The 1,000-form golden Buddha was a powerful magic treasure, but it couldn't withstand the attack of the unknown evil spirit. The evil spirit in Thunder City should belong to the category of evil spirits, and the thousand-form Golden Buddha was the nemesis of evil spirits. However, the evil spirit was able to resist the attack of the evil spirit. How powerful must the unknown evil spirit be able to suppress the all-manifestations Golden Buddha? Just the thought of it was enough to make one's hair stand on end. Clang, clang, clang. A series of violent collision sounds could be heard. The unknown evil spirit began to attack the Buddha's light formed by the thousand-form Golden Buddha. Kacha kacha. The Buddha's light formed by the thousand-form Golden Buddha cracked faster and faster, and the extent of the cracks became bigger and bigger. It wouldn't take long for the defense system of the thousand-form Golden Buddha to be destroyed by the unknown evil spirit. What the hell is it? Lin Feng's expression was gloomy. He opened the heavenly demon snake eye, hoping to see the terrifying evil spirit hidden in the darkness. The heavenly demon snake eye could see through the void. It looked directly at the source. Therefore, when Lin Feng's heavenly demon snake eye opened, he saw a mass of darkness. There seemed to be a terrifying evil spirit hidden in the darkness. However, Lin Feng couldn't see what the evil spirit was. He could only see a pair of eyes, a pair of blood-red eyes. Those blood-red eyes were filled with endless coldness and killing intent. Kikik, suddenly, the evil spirit let out a burst of sinister laughter. Then, the evil spirit began to madly attack the defensive light shield formed by the thousand Golden Buddhas. Crack, crack. The light shield formed by the Buddha's light continued to crack, as if it couldn't hold on any longer. Lin Feng's expression became extremely ugly. At this critical moment, Lin Feng discovered something that made him very surprised. At this moment, a strange thing in the mountain river ring was actually emitting waves of fluctuations. Metal box. Lin Feng frowned slightly. The metal box sealed the corpse. The black metal box was fished out by Lin Feng from a courtyard in the ancient starship. The metal box sealed the corpse of an unknown person. It was extremely strange and terrifying. Lin Feng didn't expect that the metal box would actually emit fluctuations. Now that the situation was critical, he couldn't care so much and directly took out the metal box. Then Lin Feng hugged the metal box. Crack. At the same time, the defensive light shield formed by the thousand Golden Buddhas shattered. A cold wind swept over. The terrifying evil spirit rushed towards Lin Feng. Suddenly, the runes on the metal box seemed to be resurrected, emitting waves of violent fluctuations. The runes intertwined. Waves of immortal light. Terrifying ripples burst out from the ground. Screech. A sharp and ear-piercing cry came out from the darkness. The evil spirit let out a horrified cry and quickly retreated. The cold wind blew towards the distance and soon disappeared without a trace. The evil spirit was scared away. Lin Feng's face was full of shock. This metal box was really not simple. It actually scared away the evil spirit. Of course, it could also be because the corpse in the metal box was not simple. Whether it was the metal box or the corpse, this strange thing would definitely play a big role in Thunder City. Lin Feng fixed the two ends of the metal box with a rope and then carried the metal box on his back. He continued to walk towards the depths. Lin Feng found that after carrying the metal box, he didn't encounter any more strange things. Lin Feng was extremely happy. Even though it was nighttime, Lin Feng was still brave. He started to explore some of the ancient houses which were sealed by the forbidden qi. Some of the ancient houses gave Lin Feng a bone-chilling feeling. There seemed to be some unknown and terrifying evil spirit in the ancient houses. But those evil spirits didn't provoke Lin Feng, who was carrying the metal box. Lin Feng explored dozens of ancient houses in a row and had a very rich harvest. Once again, he found 15,000 divine weapons. There were also 79 giant god-grade weapons. What a windfall! And the rest of the treasures, such as origin crystals, immortal iron, divine stones, and so on, were piled up like a mountain. If it was someone else's storage ring, they wouldn't be able to hold so many treasures. Not to mention storage rings. Even if it was a spatial porcelain bottle with a large storage space, it wouldn't be able to hold so many treasures. Fortunately, Lin Feng had the mountain river ring. The mountain river ring formed a small world, and no matter how many treasures there were, it could hold them. Demon Lord, the metal box I'm carrying, have you seen it? Lin Feng couldn't help but ask. I can't remember, the Demon Lord said. Hearing the Demon Lord's answer, Lin Feng wasn't disappointed because this was also within his expectations. The Demon Lord suddenly said, but the formation patterns on the metal box are somewhat familiar. The formation patterns on the metal box were very strange, and Lin Feng didn't know where they came from. Now, the Demon Lord had an impression of the formation patterns on the metal box. Didn't that mean that he could find some clues about the metal box? He couldn't help but ask, what is the origin of these formation patterns? The Demon Lord said, this should be a kind of dark rune passed down from the underworld. Dark rune? It has something to do with the underworld? Lin Feng took a deep breath. Could it be that the metal box was something from the underworld? Thinking of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but slightly change his expression. Something from the underworld was definitely not a small matter. No wonder the metal box was so strange and could even scare away the evil spirits in Thunder City. Rumble. Suddenly, the earth quaked and the mountains shook. Lin Feng quickly rushed out of the courtyard. He saw that the entire huge Thunder City was shaking violently at this moment. He didn't know what was happening. Chapter 1917. Many people rushed to the streets, looking shocked and uncertain, not knowing what was going on. The entire ancient city was trembling. It was too strange. Crack, crack. Then the earth began to crack. Black fog filled the air. The huge Thunder City was covered by the black fog. It was so dark that one couldn't even see their fingers. Thunder City was already strange enough. Now it was covered by the black fog. This was too terrifying. Many people were scared pale. Bang, bang, bang. In the darkness, a terrifying force surged out from the cracked earth. Then, cultivators fell to the ground one by one. Those cultivators all died on the spot with their faces down. There were also many cultivators around Lin Feng, but none of them were spared. They all died tragically. Burial ground, sacrifice. Seeing this scene, his face revealed a look of horror. Burial ground, sacrifice, had appeared before. The scene of cultivators dying tragically with their faces down. However, the number of cultivators who died was not particularly high. But now, something strange happened in the ancient city. The earth of the ancient city cracked, and black fog filled the air. A large number of cultivators died tragically. They didn't even know how they died. It was as if there was an invisible force that took away their lives in an instant. It was really inconceivable, but at the same time, it gave birth to a deep sense of uneasiness and horror. The Demon Lord said, "This is troublesome. I'm afraid that the terrifying existence suppressed under Thunder City is about to come out." Lin Feng's face suddenly changed. A place where burial ground appeared meant that a terrifying undead spirit was going to be sacrificed. Now, a large number of cultivators were being sacrificed. Indeed, as the Demon Lord said, it was very likely that the terrifying existence was about to come out. Suppressed under Thunder City. Lin Feng couldn't help but guess. Was that terrifying evil spirit suppressed by Thunder God? Or even, the fall of Thunder God might be related to that evil spirit. Now, the evil spirit was about to come out. Once it really reappeared in the world, no one would be able to live. At this time, Lin Feng suddenly felt a terrifying energy enveloping his body. That energy was very strange. It seemed to want to destroy his life force. This was an extremely terrifying thing. Is this the energy that killed so many people? Was this the burial ground, a sacrifice? Are you going to bury me here? Lin Feng's voice trembled slightly. His body also began to be invaded by this strange energy, which made Lin Feng feel very bad. Lin Feng's expression was uncertain, but at this time, he was pleasantly surprised to find that the iron box on his back was beginning to absorb the strange energy that was flowing into his body. All the energy. They were all absorbed by the iron box. What a powerful metal box. Lin Feng let out a long sigh of relief. He quickly rushed into the depths. Because of the rolling black fog in the Thunder City. Therefore, the visibility was very low. Crash, crash. Suddenly, He heard the clanking of chains. A gloomy and cold aura permeated the air. It seemed that some terrifying evil spirit was approaching from the darkness. Lin Feng summoned the 9 demons painting. The monarch weapon floated above his head while he held the All Manifestations golden Buddha in his hand. Rays of Buddhist light emanated and enveloped him within. Finally, the clanking of chains in the darkness gradually faded away. The terrifying evil spirit in the darkness did not attack Lin Feng. So many corpses. At this time, Lin Feng looked around. The ground was densely packed with corpses. He did not know how many cultivators had died. All of them were lying face down. Rumble. The ancient city began to shake violently again. Crack, crack. The ground continued to crack. Roar. Suddenly, an earth-shaking roar came from the depths of the ancient city. It startled everyone. Something is really coming out. Lin Feng's expression was very ugly. The predicament he was facing now was that he could not get out of the Thunder City. Yellow clay platform, 10,000 spirit blood. Suddenly, a gloomy and cold voice resounded in Lin Feng's mind. When the voice came out, his consciousness suddenly became blurry. That voice seemed to have a magic that no one could resist. Anyone who heard it would be lost in it. Lin Feng's body seemed to be pulled by a mysterious force and walked forward uncontrollably. He passed through one street after another. He walked towards the deepest part of the Thunder City. In the deepest part of the Thunder City, there was a huge square. Originally, this square was densely covered with restrictions, but now these restrictions were all broken. Many powerhouses walked towards the square. These were the true powerhouses. The weakest was at the true God Realm, and there were many heavenly God Realm powerhouses. There were even giant God Realm powerhouses. But now, everyone seemed to have lost themselves. After entering the square, the cultivators walked towards the center of the square. In the center of the square, there was a yellow clay platform. The yellow clay platform was about 1 meter in diameter and half a meter in height. It was not particularly big, but it was incomparably demonic. Bang, bang, bang. When the cultivators came near the yellow clay platform, their bodies directly exploded into blood mist and they died on the spot. Then, the yellow clay platform absorbed all the blood mist. This was the most tyrannical kind of sacrifice, using living people as a sacrifice. Bang, bang, bang. Cultivators' bodies were constantly exploding. Cultivators were constantly dying tragically. All the flesh and blood essence left behind after the bodies of the dead cultivators exploded. They were all absorbed by the yellow clay platform. The yellow clay platform was dyed with a demonic bloody luster. It was really too demonic and terrifying. Not long after, Lin Feng also came here. He also entered the square. People who entered this huge square, regardless of their strength, lost themselves. Even Lin Feng was no exception. Namo Amitba. Suddenly, a majestic voice resounded between heaven and earth. It woke up some of the powerful cultivators, or those with abnormally strong willpower. But most people were still in a state of confusion. Heavens, the yellow clay platform. Lin Feng was awakened. When he saw the yellow clay platform, his face changed again and again. In front of the yellow clay platform, I cry for the king. He still remembered the sobbing sound he had heard before, and it was not the first time he had heard that sobbing sound. Now, the yellow clay platform appeared in front of him. Lin Feng looked around and saw King, the little fairy born by the Green Lotus, the experts of the Supreme Immortal Sect, the experts of Dragon Blood City, the experts of the Evil Dragon Palace, the experts of the Kinwu people, the Underworld Child, the mysterious expert of the giant god realm shrouded in golden light, the old Taoist, several old monks, and several other unfathomable experts. It was very likely that they were also experts of the giant god realm. Now that these people had all woken up, everyone looked at the yellow clay platform in the square with a solemn expression. Everyone's face was incomparably ugly. The yellow clay platform was too demonic and terrifying. Chapter 1918. Bang, bang, bang. The sound of bodies exploding rang out incessantly as cultivators died tragically. This was the first time Lin Feng had seen such a tyrannical sacrificial method, so he was incomparably shocked. The others were the same. Even the giant God Realm experts had ugly expressions at this moment. They felt that the situation was very bad, because they had also lost themselves before. If it wasn't for the old monk waking everyone up, they wouldn't have been able to wake up. "Grandmaster, what should we do now?" someone asked. The old monk said, "This is a sacrificial technique. I'm afraid that something terrifying is being suppressed below. Now, so many cultivators have died tragically in order to sacrifice that terrifying existence, allowing it to break free." Many people's expressions changed drastically. If that terrifying existence really broke free, everyone here would die. No one would be able to survive. "Grandmaster, what should we do now?" someone continued to ask. The old monk looked at the old Taoist standing not far away, put his palms together, and said, "Taoist Wujia, have you thought of a way to deal with it? The yellow platform is the key. We need to seal the yellow clay platform," the old Taoist said. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the yellow platform. Now, there were still countless cultivators rushing to the yellow platform one after another. Their bodies collapsed, and their flesh and soul essence were absorbed by the platform. All of this seemed to indicate that the yellow platform was the culprit. "Can we destroy the yellow platform?" Underworld Child's eyes flickered as he asked. His expression was unsightly. Underworld Child had always been in control of his own fate, but now, he felt that his fate was no longer in his own hands. This feeling was very terrible. This feeling made Underworld Child infuriated. "No, if I'm not wrong, the yellow platform should be the center of the entire ancient city. It should be the core of the formation. Once it's destroyed, the terrifying existence under Thunder City will definitely come out. At that time, only death will await us," the old Taoist said in a deep voice. Lin Feng was shocked. He carefully looked at the yellow platform and then at the surroundings. Then he nodded. It was as the old Taoist had said. The yellow platform was the core of the formation. Ordinary people couldn't see it at all. Even Lin Feng only realized the mystery after the old Taoist reminder. This old Taoist was indeed not simple. The most important thing now is to stop these people from continuing to sacrifice. If he continued to sacrifice, that terrifying being that has been suppressed might really be about to come out, Lin Feng said in a deep voice. Everyone looked at Lin Feng. This included the Supreme Immortal Sect, Evil Dragon Palace, Kinwar People, Dragon Blood City, and other forces that had enmity with Lin Feng. However, they were not in the mood to settle their grudges with Lin Feng. The most important thing now was to work together to resolve the current predicament. Little Fairy also saw Lin Feng and naturally remembered this man who claimed to be her husband. Little Fairy couldn't help but lightly snort twice. The old monk said, "Everyone, recite the clear heart mantra with me. Perhaps we might be able to awaken them." All right, everyone nodded. Apart from this method, no one had any other viable options. So far, this was the only feasible method. The old monk and a few other monks beside him began to chant the Buddhist heart-cleansing mantra. Kowtowing to Su Shidi, the head and face of Emperor Su Shidi today, I commend the great Kundi for his benevolent protection. Osa muttered. Third contempt for third Bodhi. Ju Su murmured. His nephew. To be ruthless is to be ruthless. Juan Ti Sa Pa He. After Lin Feng and the rest heard it once, they memorized it in their hearts and chanted the clear heart mantra with the old monk and the rest. Everyone's voices gathered together like the divine voice of the heavenly Tao. Heaven and earth shook. Endless Buddha's light shone upon each other. The lost cultivators on the square felt as if they had been hit in the head. They all began to wake up. "I'm still alive. I didn't die." Many people cried out in disbelief. Some people saw their companions die one after another, and then they lost themselves. Before I got lost, they all thought that they were going to die. But now, he found that he was still alive. He was pleasantly surprised. The clanking of chains could be heard. It shook the void. The sound came closer and closer. The black fog rolled. The endless black fog enveloped the entire huge square. In the black fog, there were some terrifying evil spirits hidden. "Everyone, stop those evil spirits outside. We will go and seal the yellow mud platform. Life and death will depend on this battle." The old monk shouted loudly. "Kill, facing the danger of life and death. Everyone's bloodthirstiness and the ferocity in their bones were stimulated. One cultivator after another rushed towards the evil spirits outside the square without fear of death. "Let's go and seal the yellow mud platform," the old monk shouted loudly. All the cultivators above the heavenly god realm moved out and rushed towards the yellow mud platform. There were more than 200 people in total. Bang, bang, bang. When they got close to the yellow mud platform, the bodies of the cultivators exploded. Even the heavenly god realm powerhouses couldn't withstand the terrifying pressure around the yellow mud platform, and the cultivators outside the square who were fighting with the evil spirits suffered even more casualties. Although the cultivators had the advantage in numbers, however, those evil spirits were too terrifying. It was simply a one-sided massacre. If it weren't for the small number of evil spirits, the cultivator army would have long been wiped out. But the cultivators outside who were fighting with the evil spirits might not be able to hold on for long. Once the evil spirits entered the square, all hope would be cut off. "Ignite my battle blood. Fight to the death." Many people roared, frantically burning the blood essence in their bodies. Through this method, they could increase their battle strength. Bang, bang, bang. One after another, the monks died tragically. Bang, bang, bang. One after another, the Taoists died. Bang, bang, bang. The powerhouses of the supreme immortal sect, Dragon Blood City, Kinwu people, and other forces died one after another. It was really too difficult to get close to the yellow mud platform. Not long after, there were only 40 to 50 people left out of the 200. Most of the powerhouses had yet to get close to the yellow mud platform. He had died tragically on the way. This kind of death and injury, it was really too tragic. Why? Why? A great elder-level expert from the supreme immortal sect roared. He didn't understand why so many experts were still unable to resist the terrifying aura emitted from the yellow mud platform, even though they were burning their blood essence to increase their combat strength. This yellow mud platform looked so ordinary. Why was it so terrifying? Bang! The body of that powerhouse from the supreme immortal sect also directly exploded. He died tragically on the spot. Everyone's face was incomparably gloomy. If this continued, all of them were going to become sacrifices for that terrifying evil spirit. Everyone was extremely unwilling to accept this. But what was the use of being unwilling? The terrifying pressure emitted by the yellow mud platform was simply impossible to resist. Chapter 1919. Break. A giant god realm powerhouse roared, and his body turned into a giant axe. Then, he tore apart the terrifying pressure in the void and quickly rushed to the yellow platform. Seeing this scene, everyone's spirit suddenly shook, and they all followed behind the giant god realm cultivator. Bang! Suddenly, a terrifying destructive force emanated from the yellow clay dais, and then fiercely bombarded the yellow clay dais formed by the giant divinity stage cultivator. The giant god realm cultivator was actually beaten back to his original form, and one of his arms directly exploded. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This was an existence at the giant god realm, yet he couldn't resist the destructive power emitted from the yellow clay platform. The yellow platform was really too heaven-defying. Did everyone still have hope of sealing the yellow platform? Even the most optimistic people. At this moment, they couldn't help but feel despair. They really couldn't see any hope. Bang, bang, bang. At this time, the bodies of the powerhouses exploded one after another. Perhaps there was no need for the evil spirits outside to rush in. Lin Feng and the others would be killed by the pressure emitted from the yellow platform. However, no one chose to retreat, because there was no other way for them to choose. They would rather die in battle. They would never retreat. Boundless Tao Master. The old Taoist roared, and his body emitted endless divine light, and began to turn into a stone body. Not long after, the old Taoist turned into a stone man. Everyone looked at each other. What kind of method was this? Could it be that the old Taoist's original body was a stone man? This is the Great Petrification Technique. A giant God Realm powerhouse said. Great Petrification Technique, one of the 3,000 great Daos. This divine ability was very strange, and it was said that it could petrify others. However, it could also petrify oneself. If others were petrified, their body would be imprisoned, and they would become a stone man, unable to move an inch, and would be killed in the next moment. If the original body was petrified, it could move freely, and its defense would greatly increase, just like what they saw in front of them. The old Taoist used the great petrification technique and turned into a stone man, and his defense was raised to the peak. He walked towards the yellow platform step by step. The terrifying pressure emitted by the yellow platform was blocked by the old Taoist. Buzz. Suddenly, a destructive force gushed out from the yellow platform. Just now, the destructive force gushing out from the yellow platform seriously injured the giant god expert. From this, one could see how terrifying this destructive force was. Therefore, the yellow clay platform once again surged with destructive power. Everyone was also extremely worried that the old Taoist would not be able to withstand the attack of the destructive power. Clang! The destructive force blasted the old Taoist, producing a sonorous collision sound. It was as if he had struck a piece of metal. To everyone's surprise, the petrified old Taoist was able to withstand the destructive attack. Everyone was overjoyed. Everyone seemed to have seen hope. The old Taoist increased his speed. Finally, he arrived in front of the yellow clay platform and shot out numerous runes to suppress it. But at this moment, something terrible happened. On the yellow clay platform, dense destructive power spread out. The destructive power destroyed the runes that the old Taoist had cast, and then bombarded the old Taoist's body. After the old Taoist was petrified, his defense was extremely strong. But even so, it couldn't withstand so many destructive attacks. That was why the old Taoist priest suffered a calamity. Crack, crack. His petrified body began to crack. Wah. The old Taoist spat out a mouthful of blood and wanted to retreat, but he found that he couldn't. Namo Amitba. The old monk put his palms together, and his body surged with Buddhist light. He rushed in and grabbed the old Taoist. Then, he quickly retreated. Puff. But a destructive force swept over. It directly cut off one of the old monk's legs. Blood immediately gushed out. The old monk lost a leg, and the old Taoist's body collapsed. Both the old monk and the old Taoist had extraordinary means, but now they were also seriously injured. Boom! An even more terrifying pressure spread out from the yellow clay platform. Feeling that pressure, many people showed deep despair. They really couldn't resist. The giant god couldn't resist. The old monk and the old Taoist couldn't resist. Not to mention the others. Suddenly, Lin Feng was slightly surprised, because he found that the iron box on his back had changed again. The iron box seemed to be emitting violent fluctuations, but this fluctuation was sealed by the iron box. It couldn't escape. The iron box is really not simple. The broken corpse sealed in the iron box is even more so. Lin Feng took a deep breath. Now that the iron box was acting strangely here, Lin Feng couldn't help but have a thought. Could he use the iron box to get close to the yellow clay platform? Now, this might be the only way. Everyone, please try your best to burn your lifespan or blood essence source and add all your energy to my body. I will seal the yellow clay platform. Lin Feng gritted his teeth and said. He didn't know if the iron box could withstand the attack of the yellow clay platform. But now, there really wasn't much time left. The cultivators outside who were fighting with the evil spirit were about to collapse. The evil spirit could come in any time. Once the evil spirit came in, they would have to face the evil spirit's attack. But at that time, they would lose the opportunity to seal the yellow clay platform. Moreover, Lin Feng found that the Thunder City hadn't shook violently for a long time. Could it be? The terrifying evil spirit suppressed under the Thunder City had begun to break out of the seal? If that was the case, then it was too terrifying. Now, it had reached the point of no delay. It was time to fight to the death. You're going? Many people frowned. Is there a better way? Lin Feng asked. The others nodded gloomily. Burn my lifespan. Burn my blood essence source. One cultivator after another began to burn their lifespan. No one was stingy. They burned millions of years of lifespan at once to support Lin Feng. After burning their lifespan, they burned their blood essence source to support Lin Feng. Then, They began to burn their lifespan for the second time, burning their blood essence source to support Lin Feng. Everyone was going all out. Energy as majestic as the sea poured into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng continued to pour this energy into the iron box. The nether pattern on the iron box actually began to distort. He walked towards the yellow clay platform. When the terrifying pressure spread out, Yi Zichen was stunned. The iron box shook slightly, and all the pressure was scattered. Waves of destructive power swept towards Lin Feng. At this time, the nether pattern on the iron box emitted waves of devouring power. It actually managed to devour the terrifying destructive power directly. It's the iron box on his back that helped him resolve the attack of the yellow clay platform, everyone exclaimed, and couldn't help but look at the pitch-black iron box on Lin Feng's back. Chapter 1920. Seeing that the iron box on Lin Feng's back was so extraordinary, everyone couldn't help but be excited. With the help of the box, Lin Feng was able to withstand the terrifying attacks of the yellow platform. Then, could Lin Feng seal the yellow platform? This was naturally what everyone was looking forward to. This concerned everyone's life and death. More and more of the destructive power spread out. He then moved towards Lin Feng. But the iron box on Lin Feng's back was really too extraordinary. The dark runes twisted. No matter how much destructive power surged, it was all swallowed by the iron box. The iron box was sealed in a pond in the courtyard of the ancient Starry Sky City. It was unknown who sealed the iron box. When Lin Feng obtained the iron box, he knew that the iron box was strange. Now, the iron box gave him too many surprises. Back then, Lin Feng had tried to open the box, but he had only managed to open a small crack and had almost died. After he sealed the iron box again, he wanted to throw it away. But he didn't expect that the iron box couldn't be thrown away at all, as if it was glued to Lin Feng. It took the initiative to enter his mountain river ring. Now, Lin Feng was a little glad. Fortunately, he didn't succeed in throwing it away. Or else, perhaps he would have been killed in Thunder City. Finally, he successfully arrived in front of the yellow platform. This yellow platform exuded an ancient aura. It was unknown how many years it had existed. It looked like ordinary yellow mud piled up, but Lin Feng found something special. In the yellow platform, there seemed to be a kind of extremely terrifying blood integrated. When he sensed the ancient blood integrated into the yellow platform, the sovereign emperor blood in Lin Feng's body actually awakened. Lin Feng's expression was wild. He clearly knew how powerful and ancient his sovereign emperor blood was. Now, the blood integrated into the yellow platform could actually make the sovereign emperor blood actively awaken. What level of divine blood was this? It made Lin Feng's heart tremble. The yellow platform was stained with blood. Whose blood was it? Could it be? Was it also the blood of an expert of the same era as Pangu and Nuwa? There was no way to know all of this. Of course, all these thoughts occurred in a split second. Lin Feng didn't dare to hesitate. He hurriedly used the Heavenly Master Dao's 8 forbidden seals to seal the yellow platform. Strands of divine runes intertwined and sealed the yellow clay platform. While using the 8 seals, Lin Feng also used Emperor runes. The 8 divine seals combined with the Emperor runes to seal the yellow clay platform. The effect was even better. This guy actually knows Emperor runes. Many people were shocked, finding this hard to believe. Emperor runes were mysterious and unfathomable. Without breaking through to the great Emperor realm, it was almost impossible to grasp monarch runes. Of course, in this world, there was no lack of astonishing geniuses. Perhaps they might be able to grasp Emperor runes ahead of time. However, such people were truly too rare. Such a character might not even appear once in a trillion years. Right now, when everyone saw that Lin Feng actually grasped Emperor runes, they naturally felt incomparably shocked. Screech! Suddenly, a sharp and ear-piercing cry came from below the Thunder City. This sound seemed to be the voice of the suppressed evil spirit. That evil spirit was unwilling to continue being suppressed. It released a soundwave attack. Ah! Miserable screams rang out. Several weaker cultivators had their divine souls directly shattered and died on the spot. Even the powerful underworld child and the others held their heads and screamed in pain. Even the faces of the giant god powerhouses were contorted in pain. Lin Feng was the first to bear the brunt of it. Because of that sound wave attack, the main target of the attack was Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression was ferocious. He felt as if his soul was about to explode. This was an unbearable pain. If his soul wasn't strong enough, just now, his soul would have been directly shattered. Primal Chaos, Ancient Lamp. Protect my true body. Lin Feng coldly shouted. Buzz. His natal magic treasure, the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp, flew out. Last time, Lin Feng obtained a piece of Primal Chaos Ancient Jade. Later, Lin Feng integrated the Primal Chaos Ancient Jade into his magic treasure, the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp. After integrating the Primal Chaos Ancient Jade, the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp immediately completed a transformation and directly upgraded to the Divine Weapon level. Its power greatly increased. In addition, the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp's material was precious, and after successfully refining, it was integrated with the Dark Yellow Ancestral Chi. The Dark Yellow Ancestral Chi and the Primal Chaos Ancestral Chi were yin and yang. After integrating the Dark Yellow Ancestral Chi, it could achieve the cycle of yin and yang. Therefore, although the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp was still a divine weapon, it was more powerful than many giant god weapons. The Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp poured down rays of Primal Chaos light to protect Lin Feng. Screech. The second sound wave resounded again. Clang, clang, clang. This sound wave attack was blocked by the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp. Lin Feng let out a long breath. He continued to seal the yellow mud platform. Despicable ant. You dare to stop me from escaping? An angry roar came from below the Thunder City. Immediately after, the Thunder City shook violently. Clouds of black gas gushed out. It turned out to be the Origin Chi. The Origin Chi condensed into an illusory body. One could vaguely see that it was a man with 3 eyes of death. Ghost Immortal of the Ghost Realm. When he saw the man, Lin Feng was so scared that his whole body trembled. Below the Thunder City, it was sealed. It turned out to be a Ghost Immortal. This was too terrifying. Lin Feng knew how terrifying a Ghost Immortal was. Ghost Immortal. An existence that could kill a great emperor. The Ghost Immortal walked towards Lin Feng step by step, wanting to kill Lin Feng. Stop him! The old Taoist shouted. He took the lead and rushed towards the Ghost Immortal. His body began to burn. He was burning his life, increasing his battle strength. Then, the old monk with only one leg also rushed towards the Ghost Immortal. Then, there were several giant God Realm experts. And King, Little Fairy, Underworld Child, Supreme Immortal Sect experts, Dragon Blood City experts, and so on. Everyone. They all ignited their life force to increase their battle strength and rushed towards the Ghost Immortal. A bunch of ants. The Ghost Immortal's voice was cold, although he was only formed from the Origin Chi, but it was also unimaginably terrifying. Swoosh! The Ghost Immortal attacked. The ghost chi that filled the sky condensed into a dense and terrifying killing light that slashed towards everyone. Puff, puff, puff. Tearing sounds could be heard. One by one, the experts were killed by the Ghost Immortal. The Ghost Immortal was too powerful to fight against. Go to hell. The Ghost Immortal roared. A punch was thrown out, enveloping the last dozen or so experts who were still alive. Bang! The Ghost Immortal's punch sent more than a dozen experts flying. Wah! Everyone was coughing up blood. A few cultivators who were seriously injured. They fell to the ground and died. This battle was really too tragic, and the casualties were also disastrous. Kid, it's your turn. The Ghost Immortal laughed sinisterly and charged towards Lin Feng. No. The rest of the people's eyes were about to pop out. If Lin Feng was killed, the Ghost Immortal would definitely appear. When the time came, everyone would die, but they were already powerless to stop it. If you want my life, I'll take yours first. Lin Feng gritted his teeth. He took down the iron box. He began to open this terrifying iron box. The iron box had been opened by Lin Feng once, so he was very familiar with the restrictions on the iron box. Lin Feng quickly broke the restrictions. Then he opened the iron box. The moment the iron box was opened, a terrifying aura spread out from the iron box. Lin Feng was shocked by the terrifying aura emitted from the iron box, causing him to vomit blood. When the ghost immortal saw the minced meat in the iron box, his expression changed drastically. How could this be? This is actually... The ghost immortal cried out in horror. He seemed to know what this was. But immediately after, his body was shattered by a ray of blood light that swept out from the minced meat. And Lin Feng didn't dare to hesitate. The moment the ghost immortal was killed, he quickly closed the iron box. Chapter 1921. Kid. Do you know who the corpse in the iron box is? You have no idea? If you know, then you will know that bringing this metal box with you will be a disaster. However, if you leave now, I can let you leave Thunder City, and I can even help you get rid of this metal box. What do you think? Beneath Thunder City, the ghost immortal's seductive voice could be heard. This ghost immortal's methods were terrifying. Just a body formed from the essence was already so terrifying. It was hard to imagine this ghost immortal's true body. How strong was it? Once it was born, was there anyone in the world who could contend against it? Lin Feng sneered. I won't believe your nonsense. He resealed the iron box. Then, he carried the iron box on his back. Next, he sealed the yellow clay platform. The ghost immortal shouted, "This seat can make an oath. I will definitely not harm you. I can even give you endless wealth and various abilities. How about it?" The ghost immortal continued to tempt Lin Feng, but Lin Feng was unmoved. He sneered. I have no interest in your proposal. Didn't you want to kill me? If you can't kill me, I will seal you and let you die under Thunder City. Swish, 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 divine light flashed. Divine runes intertwined. The Celestial Master Sect's sealing technique was unparalleled under the heavens. With the help of divine runes, the yellow clay platform was about to be sealed by Lin Feng. Courting death, the ghost immortal roared furiously. Waves of destructive power surged out, shaking the void. The destructive power condensed into the law of destruction. Then, the edict of destruction intertwined with each other and turned into chains. Pa, pa, pa. The chains of order whipped towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng took out the Reaper armor and carried the iron box on his back. Above him floated the 9 demons picture and the revered sword tomb. He was doing 3 things at once. On one hand, he sealed the yellow clay platform. On the other hand, he used the 9 demons picture and the revered sword tomb to block the incoming law of order. The revered sword tomb opened, and 4 swords flew out. Together with the 9 demons picture, they blocked the attacks of the law of order. But the ghost immortal had condensed too many law of order. The dense law of order whipped towards Lin Feng. Even with Lin Feng's powerful body and the Reaper armor, he couldn't withstand the attack. He coughed out mouthfuls of blood. Fight! Old Taoist, Underworld Child, several giant God Realm experts, Old Buddha, and King, Little Fairy, and the others all climbed up from the ground and burned their lifespan to increase their battle prowess. He threw himself at the cosmic energies attacking Lin Feng. They wanted to buy time for Lin Feng. At this moment, the ghost immortal sneered. He condensed even more order laws. These precepts of order blasted towards Old Taoist, Old Buddha, Underworld Child, and the others. The powerful cosmic energies surrounded the Old Taoist priest, the Old Buddha, the Prince of Hell, and the others. They couldn't go and help Lin Feng. Both sides continued to fight. Lin Feng's body shattered again and again. He activated the immortal divine body to recover his body. After 36 consecutive times, Lin Feng couldn't hold on any longer. Am I really going to fail? It's all for naught. Lin Feng roared. He was extremely unwilling. His dermic powers were about to dry up. He couldn't continue to support the operation of the immortal divine body. Bang! He was sent flying by a law of order and fell to the ground, coughing out a mouthful of blood. But then, Lin Feng got up from the ground. Give up just like that. It wasn't Lin Feng's character. He wasn't willing to give up just like that. Persevere. Work hard. Never give up. He rushed towards the yellow clay platform. He continued to reinforce the array patterns. Bang! But soon, he was sent flying again by the law of order. Lin Feng wanted to borrow the power of the Demon Lord. But Ghost Immortal was very terrifying. He had already cut off Lin Feng's connection with the Demon Lord and the Black Bear Demon King. As for Bibi and the others in the Mountain River Ring, Lin Feng didn't summon them. Such a battle. They couldn't participate. Once summoned, they would die without a doubt. I'm willing to sacrifice myself in exchange for great power and seal Ghost Immortal here forever. Lin Feng roared. He used the great sacrificial art. His body began to burn. He began to sacrifice himself. This was the only way Lin Feng could think of. Through the most domineering sacrificial art. In a short period of time, in exchange for great power, Lin Feng's lifespan was burning crazily. By sacrificing himself, his strength began to increase crazily. It's useless. No matter how much your strength increases, you're still like an ant in my eyes. Ghost Immortal's sinister voice sounded. Chains of order quickly rushed towards Lin Feng and wrapped around Lin Feng's legs and arms. He was struggling violently, but it was difficult to break free. And in the process of struggling, the power obtained through the sacrifice was quickly dissipating. I'm really unwilling, Lin Feng roared. The sky fire in his body also surged out, burning the chains of order. But these chains of order were very terrifying, blocking the attack of the sky fire. Despair. Despair. Ghost Immortal laughed sinisterly. Cry for the king in front of the yellow mud platform. At this moment, just as Lin Feng was about to lose all hope, a voice suddenly appeared. A faint voice rang out. It resounded through heaven and earth. A woman in blood clothes appeared on the square. She walked over step by step. It's her. When he saw the woman in blood clothes, Lin Feng's expression was full of shock. The first time he saw this woman in blood clothes on the left side of the city gate. The second time was when that old monster, the divine servant, wanted to murder him. He saw this woman in blood clothes, and this woman in blood clothes scared away that old monster, the divine servant. Now, the woman in blood clothes appeared again. It turned out that sorrowful voice, it was the sound of her crying. Immortal Emperor Blood. The woman in blood clothes looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. Was the woman in blood clothes referring to his sovereign emperor blood? Lin Feng circulated his qi, holding the sovereign emperor blood in his body, and spat it on the yellow platform. Puff. The sovereign emperor blood sprayed on the yellow platform. No. Ghost Immortal let out a terrified cry. At the same time, the ancient god blood in the yellow platform, after sensing Lin Feng's sovereign emperor blood, actually emitted a shocking fluctuation. Then, an illusory figure appeared. It was a stalwart man. No one knew who he was. He stood on top of the yellow platform. Although it was just an illusory figure, but it made people feel. It was as if he was the center of this universe. The yellow platform was stained with blood. It was stained with the mysterious man's blood. Eternal seal. The mysterious man spat out 2 words. Lin Feng's sovereign emperor blood turned into streaks of blood marks. They fused into the yellow platform. I should have thought of all ways to kill you before you came to the square. The heavens didn't wait for me. Ghost Immortal roared unwillingly. You, the descendant of the sinner's blood, shouldn't be alive in this world. Your clan shouldn't be alive in this world. You, the descendant of the sinner's blood, must die a horrible death. Ghost Immortal kept cursing Lin Feng, but soon, his voice came to an abrupt stop. Ghost Immortal was sealed again. Chapter 1922. Now Lin Feng finally understood why the Ghost Immortal had tried to entice him to leave. The reason was because his sovereign emperor's blood could activate the ancient god's blood on the yellow clay platform and seal it. It was just that he didn't know. That mysterious shadow quickly dissipated, and the woman in red also disappeared without a trace. The black fog in Thunder City dissipated. The terrifying evil spirits in the black fog all retreated. Seal Ghost Immortal. Benefit the world. Merit of 10,000 generations. Reward. Suddenly, a loud voice that sounded like the voice of the heavenly Tao resounded between heaven and earth. Immediately after, a long river of providence flew over from outer space. Majestic providence surged into the bodies of every living cultivator. Oh my God! this is the providence of heaven and earth." Many survivors shouted excitedly, so excited that their bodies were trembling. Only by seizing the providence of heaven and earth could one go against the heavens and change one's fate. Those cultivators who became peerless experts, which one of them didn't have great providence? Why were some cultivators able to find the cave abodes of ancient cultivators when they went out? And why were some cultivators flying in when they went out? Why were some cultivators able to rise to the top and break through to a high realm and become a peerless expert? And some cultivators couldn't break through no matter how hard they tried. Although there might be many reasons, but there was an extremely important reason. That was providence. Everyone was different. Everyone's providence was different. It was like when two people passed by the same place. The first person didn't find anything, but the second person found a divine artifact. This was because the two people's providence was different, resulting in two completely different results. Cultivators seized the providence of heaven and earth, broke through the shackles of heaven and earth, and constantly broke through. And what was the prerequisite for constantly breaking through? It was to seize the providence of heaven and earth. And now, everyone didn't have to seize the providence of heaven and earth, because providence was descending endlessly. Of course, everyone's providence was different. This time, Ghost Immortal was sealed. Whoever put in more effort, whoever obtained more karmic luck would be able to obtain more. So among everyone, Lin Feng received the most providence. After Lin Feng, it was the old Taoist, the old Buddha, several giant God realm powerhouses, the underworld child, little fairy, and King, and the others. A steady stream of providence flowed into his body. Lin Feng smiled. Accumulating providence. He became a character that was born with the times. This was the foundation of becoming a great emperor. Since ancient times, which great emperor wasn't born at the right time? Lin Feng was advancing on this path. Swoosh, swoosh. Suddenly, one after another, balls of light flew out of the river of destiny. Then, he flew towards the cultivators in Thunder City. Is it a treasure or a legacy of the Thunder God? Many people shouted excitedly. Sealing Ghost Immortals. The first reward was the blessing of providence. The second reward was the item in the light ball. The cultivators in the Thunder City also did not go to check it out. In a place where there were too many people, it was naturally not convenient for them to check what was sealed inside the clump of light. So as not to attract the attention of others, Lin Feng didn't check either. He stored the ball of light into his mountain river ring. When the river of destiny in the sky disappeared, waves of space-time teleportation power enveloped everyone. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Every cultivator was sent out of the ancient city by the space-time teleportation power. A light flashed. Lin Feng had already appeared in the sea. In the distance, it was the endless battlefield of the ruins of End. Loud rumbling sounds could be heard. The Thunder City seemed to be disappearing. The Thunder God's hammer hasn't appeared, and the Thunder City hasn't chosen a new master. It seems that the true successor of the Thunder God hasn't appeared yet. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. While no one was paying attention to him, he quickly flew into the distance. Along the way, Lin Feng was still a little worried that he would encounter that old fart, the divine servant. Fortunately, he didn't meet him along the way, so Lin Feng could finally feel a little more at ease. When night fell, the sky turned dark. Lin Feng landed on an island. He took out the ball of energy that he had obtained in the Thunder City. Inside the ball of energy, two things were sealed inside. Of these two things, the first thing was a book made of bronze. The second thing was a metal ball of light surrounded by purple lightning. Lin Feng looked at the book. He opened the book. On the first page, there were 5 words written in large letters. Primordial Thunder God Path. Lin Feng read these 5 words. Then, he carefully flipped through the contents, and his face immediately revealed an expression of incomparable surprise. Primordial Thunder God Path. It was one of the 7 great legacies of the Thunder God. The basic cultivation technique of the Primordial Thunder God Path was the Sky Tyrant Thunder Art. There were also 2 supreme divine abilities recorded in it. The first divine ability was called the Sky Slaying Thunder Art. The second divine ability was called the Sky Destroying Thunder Art. Seeing these 2 supreme techniques, Lin Feng was surprised and happy. Originally, I had always thought that the three great legacies of the Thunder God were the sky-destroying Thunder Art, the sky-destroying Thunder Art, and the sky-destroying Thunder Art. Only today did I find out that these three great Thunder Arts were actually a type of inheritance, and they were closely linked. Moreover, the Thunder God also had 6 other supreme legacies. Unfortunately, this ancient book only briefly mentioned that the Thunder God had 6 other powerful legacies, but it didn't say what the other 6 legacies were. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. His gaze then turned towards the mysterious metal ball that was surrounded by purple lightning energy. Lin Feng tried to use his divine sense to invade the purple lightning metal ball, but he found out. The purple lightning metal ball had actually blocked the probing of his divine will. This caused Lin Feng to frown. The purple lightning metal ball was very strange. What do you think? Lin Feng transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord said, "Your contribution in sealing the ghost immortal is the greatest, so your reward will definitely be the best. From this, we can infer that this metal ball must have a great origin. However, we can't find out the secret of this metal ball now. It's very likely that it's not the right time yet. Or maybe our cultivation is not enough." Lin Feng nodded and could only temporarily put away the metal ball. The Demon Lord didn't say anything else. Lin Feng began to study the cultivation method of the sky-destroying Thunder Art and the sky-destroying Thunder Art. The Demon Lord sat on the lonely grave and pondered. After this awakening, the Demon Lord became even more silent. Lin Feng cultivated on the island for half a month. He finally gradually mastered the 2 supreme divine abilities, the sky-destroying Thunder Art and the sky-destroying Thunder Art. This made Lin Feng feel very happy. Calculating the time, the Red World Fairy should be celebrating her birthday soon, right? I don't need to go back to the returning ruined sea. I'll go directly to the Red Dust Immortal Sect in the southern Immortal Sea to celebrate the Red World Fairy's birthday. Thinking of this, Lin Feng flew in the direction of the southern Immortal Sea. The southwest of the returning ruined sea was connected to the southeast of the southern Immortal Sea. The Red Dust Immortal Sect was located in the space-time flow between the 2 seas. Chapter 1923. Waves rippled across the boundless ocean. The 4 sacred birds flew through the air at high speed. Lin Feng sat on one of the 4 sacred birds, and beside him sat a beautiful girl with long, light blue hair. This girl was none other than the Little Mermaid, Naza. The Little Mermaid originally lived at the border between the returning ruined sea region and the southern Immortal Sea region. Therefore, Lin Feng happened to pass by Naza's home on his way to the Red Dust Immortal Sect. Naza told Lin Feng about this matter. Lin Feng decided to go with Naza to her home to take a look. Naza was indeed beautiful. Unlike the beauty of Eastern women, she looked like a Western woman. She was as beautiful as an angel. Her figure, her face, she was almost perfect. Staying with such a beauty, even if they did nothing and just sat there quietly, was a kind of enjoyment. They traveled south. The sea beasts they encountered were getting stronger and stronger. Lin Feng even saw an evil dragon undergoing its tribulation. The lightning tribulation was about 100 miles long. That evil dragon was probably undergoing its heavenly tribulation. This place is the territory of the 9 great evil dragons, Naza said. When she mentioned the 9 great evil dragons, her beautiful eyes were filled with fear. The 9 great evil dragons. Their cultivations were exceedingly high, and the most important thing was, the 9 great evil dragons had many experts under them. The sea creatures. When people talked about the 9 great evil dragons, their expressions would change. The evil dragon that lived in the Evil Dragon Palace was the boss of the 9 great evil dragons. He was also the backbone of the 9 great evil dragons. The other 8 great evil dragons looked to the 9 great evil dragons as their leader. The other 8 great evil dragons each had their own territory. Therefore, they did not live in the Evil Dragon Palace. Only when something big happened would the 9 great evil dragons gather in the Evil Dragon Palace to discuss matters. Lin Feng asked, "Which evil dragon is the ruler of this sea region?" This sea region is ruled by the 9th evil dragon, so it's also known as the 9th evil dragon sea region. Many China countries around it have to pay tribute to the ninth evil dragon. Naza said, "There are many countries under the sea here?" Lin Feng was shocked. Naza nodded and said, "That's right. This place has already reached the southern region of the returning ruined sea region. In the southern region of the returning ruined sea region, there is an extremely dense distribution of underwater countries. There are many underwater countries, so the power structure is very complicated." Lin Feng asked, "These underwater kingdoms are paying tribute to the ninth evil dragon. Have they all submitted to the ninth evil dragon?" Naza shook her head and said, "These underwater kingdoms are all independent, but the ninth evil dragon's forces are enormous, so the ninth evil dragon forced them to pay tribute to him. These underwater kingdoms were naturally unwilling, so the ninth evil dragon led an army to annihilate a few of them. The remaining kingdoms were afraid that the ninth evil dragon would annihilate them, so they had no choice but to compromise." Have these underwater kingdoms never thought of joining forces to fight against the ninth evil dragon? Lin Feng could not help but ask. Naza said, "Of course I have, but that's just a thought. With so many countries, it's very difficult for them to work together. Such an alliance can be easily disintegrated. There's no way they can unite to fight against the ninth evil dragon." Lin Feng nodded slightly. What Naza said was right. To put it bluntly, the alliance between different factions was for the sake of benefits. There were simply too many ways to break up these forces that had joined together. Therefore, the only way the underwater kingdoms could unite to fight against the ninth evil dragon was if they could find a leader that all the underwater kingdoms accepted wholeheartedly. Otherwise, the alliance could easily disintegrate. 10 days later, Lin Feng saw a cluster of islands that looked like the stars in the sky. "Big Brother Lin, I've arrived," Naza said. Lin Feng had the 4 holy birds return to the mountain and river's ring, while he and Naza dove into the sea. After entering the sea, Naza immediately turned into a mermaid. Naza led the way in front. The two of them dove down. They dove down to a depth of 200,000 meters before coming to a stop. This was the deep sea. Ordinary cultivators would not be able to reach such a depth. The water pressure was simply too terrifying. Ordinary treasures would not be able to withstand such powerful water pressure. However, it was not a problem for oceanic cultivators to dive this deep. Because they lived in the water, some of the structures of their bodies were different from other races. They could adapt to the powerful water pressure. Is that an island? After descending to the bottom of the sea, Lin Feng saw a huge object in the distance. There were mountains, trees, and even some palaces on it. Lin Feng asked, "Is that where you used to live?" Naza shook her head and said, "It's a sunken island. It's sealed with restrictions and is very dangerous. When I was young, my aunt warned me not to go to that sunken island, so I've never gone there." Lin Feng nodded. Naza led the way. After a short time, Lin Feng saw a cave at the bottom of the ocean. Naza said, "Big Brother Lin, this underwater cave is where I used to live." The two of them entered the cave. There were restrictions outside the cave, so the water could not enter. Although they had been gone for many years, the cave was still very clean and dust-free because there was a cleansing array set up inside. The cave was very simple. There were 2 rooms and a living room. Of the 2 rooms, one was Naza's room, and the other was Naza's aunt's room. In Naza's aunt's room, Lin Feng saw a painting. It was the painting of a woman. She had long golden hair, a perfect and hot body, a beautiful face, and a charming smile. She was really a rare beauty. "This is my aunt," Naza said sadly. When Naza was in her teens, her aunt had already passed away. After that, Naza had always lived alone. In the deep sea, danger lurked everywhere. Naza must have experienced many dangers. Lin Feng kept the painting. He did not want Naza to think of her and continue to be sad. "Big Brother Lin, I still have a few friends. Can we stay here for a few days? I want to visit my friends," Naza asked in a low voice, afraid that Lin Feng would not agree. Lin Feng said with a smile, "Of course." Hearing Lin Feng agree, Naza immediately revealed a charming smile. Lin Feng could not help but mutter in his heart, this girl was really something. The mermaid clan really lived up to their reputation. Each one was more beautiful than the other. Lin Feng said, You rest here for a while. I'll go take a look at that sunken island. Naza's pretty face slightly changed, and she said worriedly, Big Brother Lin, that sunken island is too dangerous. It's better not to go. Lin Feng rubbed Naza's head and said with a smile, Don't worry, nothing will happen. This intimate action caused Naza's beautiful face to suddenly turn pink. Her eyes were watery, and she did not dare to look at Lin Feng. Chapter 1924. The restriction outside the sunken island was very powerful, and it was very well preserved. It was unknown how many tens of thousands of years ago this island had sunk. So many years had passed. It seemed that no one had explored it. However, it was quite normal. This was the deepest part of the sea. Basically, no one would come here. One had to know that even the sea race would not easily enter this part of the sea. Most of the sea race would choose to live in places 80,000 to 100,000 meters deep in the sea. The place where Naza lived was 200,000 meters deep in the sea. Lin Feng studied the formation that sealed the sunken island. Then, he spent more than 2 hours to break the formation. The formation that enveloped the island was very powerful. He did not know who set it up. After entering the formation, Lin Feng walked toward the depths of the island. This is... Lin Feng was surprised. He picked up some stones that were scattered on the ground. Star stones. Looking at these stones, Lin Feng could not help but frown slightly. This was a kind of, or in the starry sky world. Why were they scattered on this island? Lin Feng continued to walk on the island. Soon, he found that there were many such star stones in many places. This made him very confused. Could it be that the cultivators who lived on the island in the past scattered these star stones? Whoosh! Suddenly, a pitch-black light rushed out of the dense forest and shot toward Lin Feng. It was too fast. It was like a pitch-black lightning bolt. It made Lin Feng feel a little scared. Fortunately, he was fast enough to slash out a sword chi. It directly slashed at the pitch-black light. Poochie! A tearing sound was heard. The pitch-black light turned into a pitch-black insect. Now, the pitch-black insect was cut in half. It fell to the ground. The insect was not dead yet. Its claws were still waving. This is a dark star insect? Lin Feng looked at the insect in surprise. Dark star insect. A small insect in the starry sky world. It was highly poisonous. In the past, Lin Feng had seen dark star insects in many places during his travels through space. What puzzled him was, why would there be dark star insects on this sunken island? This was a bug that lived in the starry sky world. This island was full of strange places. Not long after, Lin Feng discovered something else that surprised him. He had actually found a small mineral vein, and the mineral veins were rich in star stones. Did this island fall from the starry sky? Lin Feng couldn't help but have a thought. Other than this explanation, there was really no other explanation for why this island not only had star stones but also dark star worms. Lin Feng couldn't help but rub his chin. If this island really fell from the starry sky, it would be too shocking. Which era did it fall from? He headed towards the depths of the island. In the depths of the island, Lin Feng saw a group of palaces. These palaces were extremely ancient. It was obviously not the current architectural style. In a plaza, Lin Feng saw a huge statue of a god. This statue had a human body, the head of a centipede. It was extremely strange. What the hell is this? Is there anyone who builds a statue like this? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter inwardly. After some wild beasts cultivated their cultivation, they would often take human form. If they built a statue of a god, they would build it in the form of a human. Therefore, this statue before him was very strange. The demon lord said, tracing back to the primordial era, some wild beasts looked down on the human race, so they were unwilling to take human form. However, they needed the faith of the human race, so they took on a half-human, half-beast form. Perhaps this island is an island from the primordial era. The primordial era was even more ancient, much older than the immortal era. The gods of all the worlds fought for their people to believe in them, and the human race was definitely one of the main targets of the gods. There was a reason for this. Because of all the races, the human race's reproductive ability was the strongest. For some races, such as the dragon race and the phoenix race, they might not be able to give birth to a descendant even after thousands of years. Moreover, even if they succeeded in giving birth, the probability of them dying was also very high. But the human race was different. The human race could easily give birth to children, and they could easily survive. Therefore, even though there were many races in all the worlds, but in reality, the dominant race was still the human race. The human race accounted for more than 95% of the population in all the worlds. As for the other races, such as the devil race, the beast race, the celestial race, the immortal race, the sea race, and so on, they only accounted for about 5% of the population at most. There were too many human beings. How much power of faith could they produce? Therefore, many experts would fight for the human race, to make the human race believe in them, to produce an endless stream of faith, to help the gods increase their strength. After hearing the demon lord's explanation, Lin Feng couldn't help but curse. They look down on the human race and still want to obtain the faith of the human race. Aren't they too shameless? The demon lord said, these races think too highly of themselves. They think that because of their outstanding talent, they are superior. But in reality, as time passes, countless races have been wiped out, but the human race has always been prosperous. This is enough to explain too many problems. The human race seems to be the race that is most adapted to the changes in the world, the race that is most adapted to natural selection and the survival of the fittest. Lin Feng agreed with the demon lord's words. The human race's body was weak and couldn't be compared to other races. In order to survive, the human race. So they began to look for ways to borrow the power of the world. Therefore, the human race created all kinds of cultivation systems. Later, other races also imitated the cultivation systems created by the human race and created their own cultivation systems. Moreover, in order to make up for their physical weakness, the human race would focus on cultivating the soul and developing the brain. Therefore, the human race's comprehension was extremely strong, and other races couldn't compare to it. This was also the reason why, among the top experts, there were so many of them. For example, the great emperor realm experts. The number of great emperors of the human race was far more than the great emperors of other races. Perhaps this was the fundamental reason why the human race had been prosperous for so long. Lin Feng walked forward and smashed the god statue with a human body and a centipede's head into pieces with a punch. What the hell? Looking down on the human race. I'll kick you away, Lin Feng muttered. Then, he kicked the centipede's head away. Then, he walked toward the palaces. There were about 20 palaces in the palaces. He opened the first palace. There were dozens of corpses lying here. These corpses had long been reduced to bones. He didn't know how long they had been dead. That's... Suddenly, Lin Feng's eyes narrowed. Lin Feng put the seal away, although there were only 2 uses to be used. A treasure true dragon seal. Once its power was released, it would definitely be stronger than the 9 demons painting. At the critical moment, this treasure could be used as a killing weapon. It could deal a fatal blow to the enemy. Immediately after, Lin Feng began to observe these corpses. He checked these skeletons and found that these skeletons were well preserved and not broken. This explained. These people in the hall had not experienced a battle before they died. If they had experienced a battle, it was inevitable that they would have been injured. Of course, there was another possibility. The person who attacked was too powerful and killed them without giving these people a chance to resist. If that was the case, these people wouldn't have been injured when they died. But no matter what the case was, after a long time, the cause of their death had become a mystery. Lin Feng took off all the storage rings of these corpses and used his divine sense to invade them. Then, he couldn't help but curse. The internal space of these storage rings was completely destroyed. Originally, he wanted to make a windfall, but now, it seemed that this hope was gone. Lin Feng searched around the hall and didn't find anything special. He was about to leave the hall when he suddenly realized that the statue in this hall was also a statue with a human body and a centipede head. This statue is exactly the same as the one outside. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. He jumped onto the altar and smashed the statue into pieces with a few punches and kicks. Only then did he leave the hall in satisfaction. Immediately after, Lin Feng came to the second hall. There were also many skeletons in the second hall. Many people had died here as well. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. After he checked, he found that the corpses in the second hall were also uninjured. They were exactly the same as the corpses in the first hall. He checked the storage rings of these people. All the storage rings were the same as the storage rings of the cultivators in the first hall. The internal space had already collapsed. Lin Feng jumped back onto the altar and smashed the statue to pieces. Then he left the second palace. Next, he explored the halls one by one. Many cultivators had died in each of the palaces, and those cultivators didn't have any injuries at all. Those people's storage rings were also destroyed. Before leaving, the statues in the halls would be destroyed by Lin Feng. Finally, he entered the main hall. The main hall was even larger and enshrined 3 statues. The statue in the middle was a statue with a human body and a scorpion head. The statue on the left was a statue with a human body and a crocodile head. The statue on the right was a statue with a human body and a wolf head. And in the main hall, there were also many skeletons. The skeletons in the main hall were much more than those in the side halls. These skeletons also didn't have any injuries on them. They died in a strange way. Lin Feng also checked the storage rings of these people. To his surprise, there was actually a storage ring that hadn't been destroyed. He put the storage ring away. When he returned, he would take a good look at the treasures in the storage ring. Lin Feng jumped in front of the 3 statues. He wanted to destroy them, but when he was about to do so, suddenly, at this moment, a palm-sized black centipede drilled out from the ground. That centipede directly soared into the sky. Its speed was as fast as lightning. It quickly rushed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng sensed it, turned around and slashed out a sword energy. Poochie. That centipede was directly cut in half by Lin Feng's sword energy. But what Lin Feng didn't expect was that the centipede's vitality was too strong. After being cut in half by Lin Feng's sword energy, it didn't die. Half of its body quickly rushed in front of Lin Feng. Then it bit the back of Lin Feng's hand. Lin Feng only felt a pain on the back of his hand. He quickly crushed the centipede to death. But the next moment, Lin Feng felt weak all over. His head seemed to be about to split open. His vision was blurry. Even his consciousness became blurry. He almost fell to the ground. Starting from the back of his hand, his body began to turn black. Lin Feng was poisoned. It was hard to imagine how terrifying the centipede's poison was. Even Lin Feng couldn't resist the centipede's poison. Chapter 1926. The centipede's poison was extremely terrifying and difficult to resist. If it was anyone else, they would definitely die. However, Lin Feng was different. Although he could not resist the centipede's poison, Lin Feng had the white jade toad on him. The white jade toad could cure thousands of poisons. No matter what kind of poison it was just a tonic for the white jade toad. After being poisoned, Lin Feng did not dare to hesitate and quickly summoned the white jade toad. Croak, croak. After being summoned, the white jade toad let out a few loud croaks and then sucked on the wound on Lin Feng's hand. A cold aura enveloped his body. The poison in Lin Feng's body quickly flowed backward. It was all absorbed by the white jade toad. Finally, I'm alive. Lin Feng could not help but take a deep breath. He finally understood why the cultivators who died in the temple did not have any injuries. Lin Feng guessed that those who died were most likely poisoned to death by the centipede. Lin Feng put the white jade toad on his shoulder and turned around to kick the 3 statues. He then walked outside. When he arrived outside, his expression changed greatly. He saw that there were many black centipedes outside. These centipedes were very strange. They had palm-sized bodies and a pair of sharp wings. They also had scorpion-like tails. This should be the great, desolate, double-winged, poisonous centipede, the demon lord said with a grave expression. This kind of poisonous centipede is very terrifying. It is said that even giant gods and quasi-emperors can easily poison them to death. If it is a king-level centipede, even a great emperor can be poisoned to death. What? The poison is so strong? Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. The white jade toad could cure the poison. However, there were too many poisonous centipedes in front of him. If a large number of poisonous centipedes bit his body, If there was too much poison, he would immediately die. At that time, the white jade toad would not be able to do anything. Lin Feng was very clear about this, so he became very careful after seeing these poisonous centipedes. Lin Feng did not dare to hesitate and quickly took out the 4 heavenly flames. Huff, huff. The 4 heavenly flames burned fiercely. Lin Feng's body was wrapped in flames. Chi, chi. The sound of burning could be heard continuously. The densely packed poisonous centipedes were directly burned to death. A large number of poisonous centipedes began to charge at Lin Feng without fear of death. However, no matter how many poisonous centipedes there were, they all died in the end under the burning of the heavenly fire. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that the centipedes were unable to withstand the heavenly fire. Lin Feng collected all the dead poisonous centipedes. He could use these poisonous centipedes to cultivate the white jade toad. Gua gua gua. Seeing these poisonous centipedes, the white jade toad let out a series of excited cries. Rumble, rumble. Suddenly, the ground began to shake violently. Black fog rolled around the temple, and darkness enveloped them. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly when he saw this. It seemed that some terrifying creature had arrived. A voice filled with monstrous killing intent came from the black fog. Lowly ant, how dare you kill my people? You're courting death. Lin Feng looked into the black fog and saw a towering existence. This existence had a human body and a centipede head. It looked very similar to the statue of the god worshipped in the temple. Are you the god worshipped in the temple? Asked Lin Feng, looking at the centipede-headed creature. That is my great ancestor, the holy centipede king, said the centipede-head creature. However, it then roared furiously. How dare you destroy the statue of my ancestor? You are courting death. You despicable human. You deserve to die. This existence was thoroughly enraged. The destruction of the statue of his ancestor caused his killing intent to soar. Huff, 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 huff. The terrifying existence spat out a large amount of poisonous fog. The poison contained in the poisonous fog was not something that could be compared to the poison contained in the body of an ordinary prehistoric double-winged poisonous centipede. The poison was so strong that it could even corrode the void. It was truly terrifying. When Lin Feng saw that, he couldn't help but take a deep breath. That fellow should be equivalent to a king insect, right? The poisonous fog it spat out was actually so terrifying. Huff. To Lin Feng's surprise, the white jade toad opened its mouth and sucked in the poisonous fog. The poison spat out by the desolate dual-winged poisonous centipede king was completely devoured by the white jade toad. Lin Feng's spirit was greatly roused. He immediately took out the 9 demons painting and attacked the desolate dual-winged poisonous centipede king. Despicable ant, do you think you can fight against this god? That's simply a pipe dream. The desolate dual-winged poisonous centipede king let out a furious roar. Its incomparably huge tail swept towards the 9 demons painting. Then, a hair-raising scene appeared. One after another, arms grew out of its body. In the blink of an eye, its body was densely packed with arms. There were no less than 100 arms. Each arm was holding a magic treasure. These magic treasures were activated and directly attacked Lin Feng. Damn, what a freak! Seeing this scene, Lin Feng was so frightened that his whole body trembled. The centipede had many legs. The legs of a centipede were equivalent to the hands of a cultivator. That was why the desolate dual-winged poisonous centipede king had so many arms. Lin Feng quickly used the heaven patching technique to dodge the attacks of those magic treasures. Then, he recalled the 9 demons painting. Then, without even looking back, he rushed outside. Within the black fog, the desolate dual-winged poisonous centipede king covered the sky and pounced towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng used the burning wrath of the heavens to condense a huge ball of flame. Asterisk bang. Asterisk the huge ball of flame directly exploded. In an instant, countless desolate dual-winged poisonous centipedes were killed. Those that were not killed were burned to death by the flames. Lin Feng rushed out of the black fog and quickly rushed outside the island. Lowly human, where do you think you're going? A cold voice sounded. The desolate dual-winged poisonous centipede king quickly chased after Lin Feng. Its huge tail pierced through the void and arrived in front of Lin Feng in an instant. It stabbed towards Lin Feng's chest. Danger! Lin Feng's face suddenly changed. At the moment of life and death, his body moved sideways to the left, narrowly avoiding this sure-kill attack. Then, Lin Feng's speed reached the extreme. He rushed to the periphery of the island, opened the seal, and quickly left the island. Then, he sealed the seal again. At this time, the desolate dual-winged poisonous centipede king had already caught up. Asterisk bang bang bang. Asterisk again and again. The ferocious beast rammed into the seal that sealed Sunken Island. However, the seal on the island was very strong. The desolate dual-winged poisonous centipede king could not break the seal at all. Roar, 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 roar. Chapter 1927. F***CK, come out if you dare. I can crush you to death with one hand. Lin Feng stood outside Sunken Island and shouted. Roar. The wild double-winged poisonous centipede queen was thoroughly enraged. This despicable human cultivator dared to provoke it. This was absolutely intolerable. The poisonous centipede queen reverted to its true form, which was a 10,000-meter-tall body. His mountain-like body slammed into the restriction, but he still couldn't break it. Haha, you can't come out, right? You should be glad that you can't come out. If you do, I will crush you to death and brew wine for you. The wine brewed by the centipede queen will definitely taste good. Lin Feng continued to shout. The wild double-winged poisonous centipede queen was so angry that it wanted to cut Lin Feng into pieces. However, it was now trapped on the island. Although it hated Lin Feng to the core, there was nothing it could do to Lin Feng. In the end, the wild double-winged poisonous centipede queen returned. It felt that if it continued to stay here, it would definitely be driven mad by this despicable human. Don't go, you coward. Come and fight me one-on-one if you have the ability. Lin Feng shouted provocatively. The wild double-winged poisonous centipede queen's thick tail destroyed a large part of the forest to vent its anger and grievance. Seeing the wild double-winged poisonous centipede queen leave, Lin Feng leisurely walked towards Naza's residence. Seeing Lin Feng return, Naza's worried expression finally relaxed. Big brother Lin, did you find anything special on Sunken Island? Naza asked curiously. There are many terrifying poisonous centipedes sealed in there. Lin Feng said. Poisonous centipedes, ah? Naza screamed in fright and pounced on Lin Feng. This little girl seemed to be very afraid of poisonous centipedes. What a warm and fragrant body. Hugging a delicate little beauty like Naza was so comfortable. At this moment, Naza realized that her position with Lin Feng was too ambiguous. Blushing, she left Lin Feng's embrace and lowered her head, not daring to look at Lin Feng. She whispered, I was bitten by a centipede when I was young, so I'm especially afraid of centipedes. Lin Feng nodded. No wonder Naza had such a big reaction when she heard about the centipede. It was because she was traumatized when she was young. Let's rest early. I'll accompany you to meet your friends tomorrow. Lin Feng said. Naza nodded. Lin Feng came to Aunt Naza's room. He took out Aunt Nazar's portrait and carefully looked at the beauty in it. Then, he sighed. Such a delicate beauty died so early. She's really a beauty with a short life. What a pity. After sighing with emotion, Lin Feng put away Aunt Nazar's portrait. Then, he took out the storage ring he obtained from the temple. This was the only storage ring that was not damaged. He wondered if there was anything good inside. Lin Feng was looking forward to it. His divine thought invaded the storage ring. He immediately discovered that this storage ring had about a dozen cubic meters of space. Although the space was not big, there were many things piled up. There were magic treasures, pills, heavenly materials, and some precious immortal iron and divine stones. Lin Feng checked the level of a few of the magic treasures and found that they were all magic treasures of the giant divine soldier level. This made him very surprised. Lin Feng could not help but mutter. Could it be that the owner of this ring was a giant divine soldier when he was alive? Of course, this was only Lin Feng's guess. If one was not a giant divine soldier, they could naturally have a giant divine soldier. Take Lin Feng, for example. He was only at the divine fire realm, but he had an emperor weapon. Lin Feng saw a sealed purple jade box and could not help but let out a surprised cry. This kind of purple jade was very rare. He took out the purple jade box. He could not help but ponder. Why is there a seal? Could it be that something special is sealed inside? Lin Feng began to break the seal of the purple jade box. He had always been very careful, because he did not know what would appear after breaking the seal. Something extremely dangerous might happen, so he had to be careful. Since ancient times, countless cultivators had died because of carelessness. One restriction after another was broken by Lin Feng. Crack, crack. Finally, the purple jade box was opened by Lin Feng. The moment the purple jade box was opened, a terrifying pressure filled the air. Bang! The pressure directly swept Lin Feng's body and directly sent Lin Feng flying. The purple jade box also fell to the ground. Lin Feng felt as if all the bones in his body were about to be broken. His face was as pale as paper. There must be something terrifying sealed inside the purple jade box. Otherwise, it would not release such a terrifying pressure. He circulated the immemorial dragonesque elephant art to resist the powerful pressure emitted from the purple jade box. Then, he carefully walked towards the purple jade box. Arriving beside the purple jade box, Lin Feng picked it up. Then, he completely opened the purple jade box. A golden bone appeared in front of Lin Feng's eyes. It was the pressure emitted by this golden bone that injured Lin Feng. What kind of bone is this? It's actually so powerful? Lin Feng carefully observed the golden bone. Soon, his expression changed. This was because this golden bone was actually branded with dense emperor runes. This is an emperor bone, the demon lord said. What? An emperor bone? Lin Feng could not help but widen his eyes, and his breathing became heavy. An emperor bone. Only the great emperor's origin bone was called an emperor bone. It was said that every emperor bone was branded with the ancient inheritance of the great emperor, and it also contained part of the great emperor's law power. The value of an emperor bone was impossible to estimate. Now, the demon lord actually said that the one in front of him was an emperor bone. Lin Feng's heart was shocked and excited. An emperor bone is rare. If a great emperor falls, his body will not be left behind and will be destroyed. Therefore, it is impossible for an emperor bone to be left behind. However, nothing is absolute. To be able to obtain such an emperor bone, it's also a great opportunity. The demon lord could not help but say, "The blessing of Thunder City's luck. Now, my luck is flourishing. To be able to obtain this emperor bone, is it related to my own luck?" Lin Feng's heart could not help but move as he said aloud, "Luck is both real and fake. Even a great emperor would find it difficult to comprehend the mysteries of luck. Perhaps only by cultivating to the immortal realm can one comprehend the mysteries of heaven and earth contained in luck." The demon lord said. Lin Feng nodded. He looked at the emperor bone and said, "How should I deal with this emperor bone?" Refine the bone into the body. Chapter 1928. Refine the bone into the body? What does that mean? Lin Feng asked in confusion. The demon lord said, "You can refine the bone into your body and turn it into a part of your body. As time passed and one's cultivation increased, one would be able to gradually grasp the emperor might contained within the emperor bone. This was where the true value of the emperor bone lay. If you only try to comprehend the inheritance within the bone, it will be a waste of the bone. Moreover, the inheritance within the bone isn't that easy to comprehend. The bone is enveloped by the runes. If you want to comprehend the inheritance within the bone, you must first decipher the runes. However, deciphering the runes is too difficult, so the best way is to refine the bone into your body and make it a part of your body. That way, when you activate the bone, not only will you be able to release the power of the Emperor Law, but you will also be able to release the various divine abilities and inheritances within the bone," Lin Feng said. "But won't there be any problems with my body if I refine the bone?" Lin Feng wasn't worried for no reason. Great emperors were terrifyingly strong. Which great emperor wasn't someone who had schemed for countless years? Who knew if the bone was left behind in the mortal world because of some scheme? It was better to be safe than sorry. The world of cultivators was always filled with mutual deception. One had to be on guard. The demon lord said, "If you are worried, you can refine it with your heavenly fire. If there really is some sinister trick, use your heavenly fire to refine it, and you will quickly discover it." Lin Feng's main worry was that the bone contained something like a remnant soul that would try to take control of him or even take over his body. Previously, he had been worried that the heavenly fire wouldn't be able to destroy the remnant soul hidden within the bone. However, since the demon lord said that refining the bone with his heavenly fire could resolve his worries, Lin Feng relaxed. He took out his 4 heavenly fires. He used them to repeatedly burn the bone. The flames of different temperatures burned the bone, causing the temperature to change rapidly. This was even more destructive. Of course, if the bone was strong enough, it wouldn't be damaged by the heavenly fire. However, if there was still a remnant soul hidden within the bone, it wouldn't be able to withstand the repeated burning of the heavenly fire. After refining for a full 4 hours, Lin Feng didn't find any problems. Only then did he feel relieved. He then asked, "How do I refine the bones into my body?" The demon lord said, "This depends on which part of your body you plan to refine this emperor bone to." Lin Feng asked, "In that case, the arch bone can be refined to any part of the body?" The demon lord shook his head and said, "No, it can only be refined into the gaps between the bones. There are a total of 108 such places in the body. The head's Hoquan acupoint, the Juman acupoint, the abdomen's Taida acupoint, and so on all have such places that can be integrated into this emperor bone. Where should I fuse the emperor bone into?" Lin Feng asked. "I suggest you fuse the emperor bone into the position." The demon lord said, "The left chest is where the heart is located, and the heart is the core of the blood circulation, so the heart is extremely important. The emperor bone fused into the left chest, many times, it can also play the role of protecting the heart." The emperor said. Lin Feng nodded. He agreed with the emperor's words. The heart was important to cultivators. It was too important. A cultivator's Achilles heel. The first was the soul. If the soul was destroyed, the cultivator would die. The second was the heart. If the heart was destroyed, the cultivator would also die. On the other hand, if one was injured in other places, if one took some heavenly treasures or spirit pills in time, they could gradually recover. Only the soul and the heart. Once one was seriously injured, it would be fatal. Medicine was difficult to cure. Lin Feng asked, "How should I refine the bone into my body?" "You need to cut open your chest, embed the emperor bone into it, and then constantly circulate your magic power to refine the emperor bone, allowing it to fuse with your bones." The demon lord said, "That's too bloody." Lin Feng felt his scalp go numb, cutting open his chest. Even if it was just a simple thought, he also felt a chill run down his spine. The demon lord said, "In order to increase your strength, this is nothing." Lin Feng nodded. What the demon lord said made a lot of sense. Cultivators go against the heavens and seize life. In order to increase his strength, not to mention cutting open his chest, even if he had to dig out his heart, he had to do it. Lin Feng took out a dagger. He slashed down. His chest was cut open. Then, he embedded the emperor bone into the gap between the bones and his chest. Then, he began to circulate the immortal divine body. Very soon, Lin Feng's wound healed. If it was someone else, after cutting open their chest, they would have to wait for the wound to slowly heal. It would take a period of time to heal before it could recover to its original state. But Lin Feng was different. He had the immortal divine body. He could recover from his injuries in a very short period of time. After the wound healed, Lin Feng began to circulate the immemorial dragonesque elephant art. The magic power in his body began to flow. It washed the emperor bone in his chest over and over again. Lin Feng immediately felt that the emperor bone in his chest began to heat up. It seemed to have begun to fuse with his bones. The next day, Lin Feng and Naza left their residence together and headed towards the place where Naza's friend was. Naza's friend was the princess of an ancient underwater country called Shueli. This ancient underwater country could be considered one of the top ancient countries in the underwater world. Back then, when Naza went out, she encountered a powerful underwater beast and was chased down by it. Princess Shweli happened to pass by and save Naza. The two of them got to know each other. Although Shweli was the princess of an ancient country, she was approachable and treated Naza very well. As a result, the two of them became good sisters. Under Shweli's introduction, Naza gradually got to know a few more friends. These people were also Naza's few friends. The underwater country that Naza mentioned was called the Deep Sea Demon Kingdom. 3 days later, Linfeng and Naza arrived at the Deep Sea Demon Kingdom. An incomparably huge city appeared in front of them. Above the city, there were densely packed shrimp soldiers and crab generals. Those shrimp soldiers and crab generals were all holding weapons and patrolling everywhere. Naza said, "The sea race countries in the deep sea are relatively special. The sea race countries are not like the human countries that have many cities. In the deep sea, a city is equivalent to a country, and according to the strength of this country, the area of the sea that this country controls is also different." Linfeng nodded. Roar. Suddenly, a high-pitched dragon roar came from afar. 9 flood dragons pulled an ancient carriage through the deep sea, and around the ancient carriage, there were densely packed guards. With such a big show, the person who came was obviously extremely extraordinary. A loud rumbling sound came out. The ancient city's gate opened. Densely packed sea race cultivators walked out of the ancient city. These people were obviously here to welcome that big shot. Clearly, he recognized Naza. This was because Naza had frequently visited the Deep Sea Demon City in the past. Therefore, many people in the Deep Sea Demon City knew Naza. "Is Sister Shweli in the palace?" Naza asked. "Her Highness is here," Crab General said. Naza bowed to the Crab General and entered the ancient city with Linfeng. Inside the ancient city, people came and went. Cultivators of various races were present. Linfeng even saw human cultivators. Naza said, "Human cultivators who can enter the Deep Sea Kingdom are all cultivators who have business dealings with the Deep Sea Kingdom. The Deep Sea Kingdom is rich in resources. There are many things that the Oceanids don't need. Inland, there are also many resources that the Oceanids need. However, it's not convenient for the Oceanids to go inland, so they trade with these human cultivators. They trade for things that both sides need." Linfeng nodded. He walked along the streets with Naza. The Deep Sea Demon City was very large. Linfeng and Naza were not in a hurry to see Princess Shweli. Along the way, Linfeng curiously looked at the many small stalls on both sides of the ancient city. These small stalls sold all kinds of rare treasures from the deep sea. For example, a fist-sized pearl only cost 10 origin crystals. If it was sold outside, at the very least, it could sell for 50 origin crystals or more. The profits earned in the middle were simply too great. Some human cultivators who entered the ancient city began to wantonly buy goods. Of course, it was not only human cultivators. There were also some other races, such as demons, devils, and so on. Linfeng even saw some skeletons. They were ghost cultivators. They were also buying all kinds of rare treasures from the Deep Sea Kingdom. "Brother Lin, do you have any rare treasures you want to buy?" Naza asked. "These things are not bad." Linfeng pointed at the night-luminescent pearls on the small stalls and said with a smile. Each night-luminescent pearl was the size of a fist. Linfeng bought a lot of night-luminescent pearls. Naza asked curiously, "Brother Lin, are you buying so many night-luminescent pearls to sell?" If Big Brother Lin also wants to sell the rare treasures in the sea, Naja can take Big Brother Lin to a place where there are more rare treasures and the prices are cheaper. Big Brother Lin can make a fortune there. Linfeng said with a smile, "I'm not going to sell. Look at these night-luminescent pearls. They are so bright. In the future, you can take them back and put them in your room. You don't even need to light a lamp at night." Naza couldn't help but chuckle when she heard that. Linfeng saw a very beautiful pearl hairpin on a stall and bought it. He then handed the hairpin to Naza and said, "This is for you." Naza's pretty face revealed a look of joy. She didn't expect Linfeng to give her something. However, her pretty face quickly turned red. She had always been a shy person. "Shall I help you put it on?" Linfeng looked at Naza and said. Naza nodded with a red face. Linfeng helped Naza put on the hairpin. A precious hairpin goes well with a beauty. The hairpin is beautiful, but the person is even more beautiful, Lin Feng said with a smile. When Naza heard Lin Feng praise her beauty, other than feeling shy, she also felt very happy. However, Naza didn't know why she was so happy. She said with a red face, "Thank you for the gift, Brother Lin. You don't have to be so polite with Brother Lin." Lin Feng rubbed Naza's head. The two strolled around for a while and found that there was nothing else to buy. Thus, they went straight to the palace. When they arrived outside the palace, Naza had a guard enter the palace to report. Not long after, a group of people quickly rushed out. The person in the lead was a woman wearing a snow-white dress. She was tall and charming. Her face was exquisite and beautiful. Her temperament was otherworldly and elegant. She should be the Princess Shirley that Naza had mentioned. There were both men and women beside Princess Shirley, and they were all young people. Sister Naza. Princess Shirley was very excited when she saw Naza. She quickly walked over and hugged Naza. Sister Shirley. Naza seemed to rely on Princess Shirley. She also hugged Princess Shirley. Seeing this warm scene, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile. However, in the next moment, he frowned slightly. This was because Lin Feng felt a killing intent enveloping him. Chapter 1930. Lin Feng turned around when he sensed the cold killing intent. He saw a man in black robes staring at him with a pair of sinister eyes. It was the terrifying killing intent that was being released from the man's body. Lin Feng didn't recognize the man. He didn't know why the man was looking at him with such hostility. His heart skipped a beat. Could it be because of Naza? When the man saw Lin Feng looking at him, he withdrew his gaze. After Princess Shirley and Naza separated, Princess Shirley glanced at Lin Feng and smiled. "Naza, why don't you introduce this handsome young master to me?" Naza said. "This is Lin Feng, big brother Lin." Naza then introduced Princess Shirley to Lin Feng. Princess Shirley was the only exception. Naza also introduced several other women. These women were her and Princess Shirley's friends. Today, the palace was welcoming the important figures of the purple-scaled merfolk. Therefore, the young masters and young mistresses of the deep-sea demon kingdom were also present. Apart from Princess Shirley, Naza's friends were all young mistresses of the deep-sea demon kingdom. Naturally, they were also present. After that, Princess Shirley introduced Lin Feng to the other young cultivators. This included the man in black robes. His name was Long Aohan. He was an expert of the evil dragon clan's younger generation. It turned out that, for some reason, the evil dragon clan and the purple-scaled merfolk had sent experts here. They were all here to meet Princess Shirley's father. Long Aohan had also come with an elder from the evil dragon palace. These important figures were here to meet Princess Shirley's father. Perhaps something big was going to happen. However, this wasn't something the younger generation could participate in. Therefore, they didn't know what was going on. Lin Feng finally understood why the man in black robes was so hostile toward him. It seemed that he had recognized his identity. Lin Feng already had a deep grudge with the evil dragon palace in the returning ruins battlefield. Moreover, he had gained a lot in Thunder City. The evil dragon palace wanted to kill him and steal his treasures. This matter was rather logical. The evil dragon palace was powerful, and they wanted to kill people. Naturally, he would not let it go so easily. Of course, Lin Feng didn't take it to heart. Unless one of the 9 great evil dragons personally came, Lin Feng wouldn't care about ordinary evil dragon experts. "Let's go into the palace for a chat," Princess Shirley said as she held Naza's hand. Naza nodded. Then, a group of people entered the palace. The Oceanic Race's imperial palace was splendidly decorated with all kinds of precious treasures. It was extremely beautiful. After everyone was seated, a beautiful maid came forward to pour wine for them. Princess Shirley looked at Naza and asked, "Sister Naza, where have you been these past few years? I sent people to look for you for a long time, but they couldn't find you. I thought something had happened to you, so I was very worried about you." Following this, another merfolk woman said, "That's right, Sister Naza. We were so worried about you." Naza said, "Here's the thing. A few years ago, I was in a secluded cultivation in an immortal's cave in the deep sea. Originally, I thought that I would come out soon. I didn't expect that this secluded cultivation would take several years. It's all Naza's fault. Naza didn't mention that she was captured and sold by a group of cultivators. Clearly, she didn't want her friends to worry. Naza's personality was gentle, considerate, and very lovable. However, Naza didn't like to lie. Perhaps because she felt that she was lying, she felt guilty and didn't dare to raise her head to look at Princess Shirley. However, Naza thought of the reason she came up with and hoped that her sisters wouldn't worry about her. Thinking of this, Naza's heart relaxed and felt more at ease. Everyone gathered together and chatted about many things. Princess Shirley didn't ask how Lin Feng and Naza knew each other. This made Lin Feng have a good impression of her. Everyone had their own privacy. Princess Shirley clearly respected others' privacy. Perhaps in her opinion, even if she and Naza were like sisters, there were still some things that she couldn't touch, especially when it came to men. No matter how good a sister was, she shouldn't be overly concerned about the men around each other. This was a matter of principle. Naza planned to stay in the palace for a night and catch up with Princess Shirley and the others. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't refuse Naza's small request. Princess Shirley arranged a place for Lin Feng to stay. Naza and Princess Shirley went to catch up, while he rested alone in his room. Not long after, a terrifying aura spread out and enveloped Lin Feng's room. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. He walked out. He walked out and saw that more than 20 people had gathered outside, surrounding him. These people were all experts of the evil dragon palace. Long Aohan was also present. "What? Do you need something from me?" Lin Feng said indifferently. "Brat, still putting on an act?" said Long Aohan coldly while looking at Lin Feng. His voice was filled with killing intent. Lin Feng said indifferently, "When did I put on an act?" "Back at the Returning Ruins battlefield, you killed my evil dragon palace's people. Can you bear the consequences?" Long Aohan asked coldly. "Of course I can. Why wouldn't I dare to admit it? You're talking about Long Shangjia's subordinates, right?" Long Shangjia led the evil dragon palace's people to ambush the cultivators who entered the lightning god's land of inheritance. "It's fine if they didn't provoke me, but these people provoked me. So what if I killed a few of them?" Lin Feng said indifferently, as if he didn't care about this matter at all. The evil dragon palace's people were so angry that their faces turned ashen. Their killing intent soared. He killed the evil dragon palace's people, and he still acted like he didn't care. This guy actually dared to look down on the evil dragon palace. He deserved to die. "Do you know that you've already committed a capital crime?" Long Aohan sneered. The other evil dragon palace's experts also revealed killing intent. They looked at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a dead man. Lin Feng sneered. "You nobodies want to kill me? What? Cats and dogs? You dare call us Tom, Dick, and Harry? You dare to humiliate us like this? You're courting death." The evil dragon palace's people roared furiously. They had always been high and mighty. Normally, others would be careful when speaking to them. But now, Lin Feng actually dared to call them nobodies. How could they tolerate this? The group of evil dragon palace's cultivators wanted to join forces to deal with Lin Feng. "Stop!" At that moment, a cold shout came from afar. Lin Feng let out a hollow laugh as he raised his right hand and pressed forward. Buzz. A giant hand of energy was formed. It enveloped everyone from the evil dragon palace. The energy hand descended from the sky. "Suppress it." Bang, bang, bang. A series of muffled sounds of collisions were heard. The group of experts from the evil dragon palace couldn't block Lin Feng's attack at all. They were all slapped to the ground by Lin Feng's palm. Lin Feng casually formed a seal, and these people were lying on the ground, unable to move. This. Everyone was dumbfounded. Long Aohan and the others weren't weak. This group of people were all true God realm and above powerhouses. Long Aohan and the other two experts were at the peak of the true God realm. So many experts joining forces. They couldn't even take a single blow from Lin Feng? That was too terrifying, wasn't it? "Today, I'll give Princess Shirley some face and not kill you. Send a message to the evil dragon palace. Don't provoke me. If you provoke me again, no matter who you are, I'll kill you." Lin Feng waved his right hand. Bang! Long Aehan and the others were all swept away. They all rolled on the ground. They were as pathetic as they could be. Everyone's face was extremely gloomy. Today, they had lost all face. This was unbearable for Long Aehan and the others. This was even more unbearable than killing them. "Let's go," Long Aehan said in a deep voice. He left with the people from the evil dragon palace. Lin Gongzi, Sister Naza, there are a few experts from the evil dragon palace who are discussing matters with my father in our palace, and there is even an ancestor-level existence. You can't stay in the palace any longer. I'll send you away, Princess Shirley said. Lin Feng also knew that it was not appropriate to continue staying in the deep-sea demon kingdom. He wasn't afraid of these people from the evil dragon palace. The main reason was that he didn't want to involve Princess Shirley in this matter. It could be seen that Princess Shirley was really good to Naza and treated her as her own sister. So this matter. It was better not to involve Princess Shirley as much as possible. After all, Princess Shirley was different from him and Naza. He and Naza could go anywhere. Behind Princess Shirley was a deep-sea demon kingdom. Thus, he offended the evil dragon palace. To the deep-sea demon kingdom, this was also a huge blow. "We can leave by ourselves," Lin Feng said. "Sister Shirley, I'm leaving. I'll come and see you in the future," Naza said reluctantly. You must be careful," Princess Shirley said. "I will." Naza nodded. Lin Feng grabbed Naza's jade-like hand and flew outside. Soon, they left the deep-sea demon kingdom. "Little bastard, where are you going?" An earth-shaking roar came from the deep-sea demon kingdom. Immediately after, an expert from the evil dragon palace flew out. He quickly chased after Lin Feng and Naza. "Not good. It's Long Shengqiang from the evil dragon palace. This person is at the 5th level of the heavenly god realm," a beautiful Sea Clan woman said, her face pale. This was also a friend of Naza's. At this moment, she was worried about Naza and Lin Feng. "I'll go save them." Princess Shirley's face was also very pale. She rushed to the sky, wanting to save Lin Feng and Naza. Although she was no match for Long Shengqiang, she was still the princess of the deep-sea demon kingdom. Princess Shirley hoped that Long Shengqiang would spare Lin Feng and Naza for the sake of the deep-sea demon kingdom. However, at this moment, Princess Shirley and the others saw that Lin Feng had stopped. Princess Shirley and the others were stunned. They did not know why Lin Feng had suddenly stopped. At this moment, countless people in the deep-sea demon kingdom were looking at Lin Feng and Long Shengqiang. Everyone was puzzled. Why did Lin Feng stop? Shouldn't he be running away now? However, in the next moment, everyone saw a scene that they would never forget for the rest of their lives. After stopping, Lin Feng actually took the initiative to rush toward Long Shengqiang. Long Shengqiang was slightly stunned. Then, his face was filled with killing intent. He blasted a palm toward Lin Feng. Lin Feng turned into a saber light. Everyone felt that. The entire world. It was as if it had turned into a world of sabers. Puff. Along with the sound of something being torn apart. Long Shengqiang, a 5th level, heavenly god realm expert. He was actually hit by Lin Feng's saber light. He was directly split into two. Chapter 1932. How is this possible? Princess Shirley muttered in disbelief. That was a 5th firmament celestial god powerhouse. He was actually killed by a young cultivator in one move. It was too shocking. It was simply unbelievable. It was hard to believe what they saw. It wasn't just Princess Shirley. Many people in the surroundings were shocked. Many people even thought that they were seeing things. "Let's go." Lin Feng grabbed Naza's soft little hand and left through the void. That Lin Feng is too strong. It's too terrifying. With such strength, he can at least compete for the prodigy list, right? The group of Sea Clan young masters and young ladies discussed animatedly. Princess Shirley's beautiful eyes revealed a thoughtful expression. 5 days later, above the sea, Lin Feng flew quickly. Behind him was the evil dragon palace's ancestor-level powerhouse, Long Yuan sect, who was chasing closely. When Lin Feng left the deep-sea demon kingdom that day, he was targeted by Long Yuan sect. He sent Naza back into the mountain river ring. Then, his speed increased. It was difficult for ancestor-level powerhouses to catch up to him. Kid, I don't mind wasting time with you like this. When your magic power dries up, let's see how you die. Long Yuan Sect's voice contained a dense killing intent. Previously, Lin Feng had obtained the Emerald Leaf Stone. The energy contained in the Emerald Leaf Stone could quickly replenish the consumed magic power. However, the Emerald Leaf Stone had long been used up. So now, Lin Feng didn't have any divine stones to replenish his magic power. Ancestor-level powerhouses were also called half-step giant god realm. Powerhouses of this level had already condensed the illusory giant god law in their bodies. They had grasped a portion of the power of the giant god law. It was not something a heavenly god realm cultivator could compare to. Powerhouses of this level could break through to the giant god realm at any time. Of course, they could also be trapped in this realm for the rest of their lives. To break through to the giant god realm, they needed to comprehend the great Tao of heaven and earth of the giant god realm to break through. But whether or not they could break through to the giant god realm, Long Yuan Sect was indeed an existence that Lin Feng couldn't contend with at this stage. Why don't you try my Emperor Bone? Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. Running away like this was definitely not a solution. In terms of consumption, Lin Feng was no match for the Long Yuan Sect. Lin Feng's speed was fast enough. The Long Yuan Sect could not catch up with Lin Feng. However, the speed of the Long Yuan Sect was not slow. The Long Yuan Sect was an expert of the Evil Dragon Clan. The Evil Dragons were an extremely powerful branch of the Dragon Clan. Whenever the Dragon Clan appeared, a demonic wind would sweep through the world. What did this mean? This meant that the Dragon Clan was very fast. It was because it was too fast that it brought about gusts of demonic wind. The Evil Dragon's speed was fast to begin with. In addition, its cultivation level was much higher than Lin Feng's. It was naturally very difficult to shake off the Long Yuan Sect. Lin Feng had already made up his mind to use the Emperor Bone to deal with the Long Yuan Sect. Therefore, he gradually slowed down. Long Yuan Zong revealed a smug smile when he saw Lin Feng slowing down. He thought that the reason why Lin Feng slowed down was because he had consumed too much of his magic power. Kid, you can't hold on any longer? Have you thought about how you're going to die? The Long Yuan Sect laughed sinisterly. Lin Feng did not reply to the Long Yuan Sect. He began to circulate the magic power in his body and poured it into the Emperor Bone. Very soon, Lin Feng could not help but smile bitterly. It was too difficult to activate the Emperor Bone, and the consumption of magic power was too great. It was too much for him. When Lin Feng felt that his magic power was about to be devoured, the Emperor Bone released a violent fluctuation. Then, Lin Feng felt that the Emperor Bone was getting hotter and hotter. Because Lin Feng's cultivation was limited right now, therefore, he could only activate a small portion of the Emperor Bone's power. But even if it was only a small portion, the power was already heaven-defying. This was the Emperor Bone, the origin bone of the great emperor. Just thinking about it made one's hair stand on end. Seeing Lin Feng's speed getting slower and slower, the Long Yuan Sect was excited. Terrifying magic power surged out of his right hand. The powerful magic power condensed into a destructive ball of light. He quickly caught up to Lin Feng. He slapped his palm towards Lin Feng. The destructive ball of light, condensed on the Long Yuan Sect's palm, directly enveloped Lin Feng. Seeing that Lin Feng was about to be drowned by that destructive ball of light. Right at this moment, Lin Feng quickly turned around. At his chest, holy light lingered. A dazzling pillar of light shot out from the Emperor Bone. Puff. That holy light directly destroyed the destructive ball of light condensed by the Long Yuan Sect. Then, without any decrease in power, it continued to blast towards the Long Yuan Sect. The Long Yuan Sect was shocked. He did not expect that the attack condensed by Lin Feng would be so terrifying. The Long Yuan Sect quickly dodged, but it was already too late. His body was locked onto, and he could not dodge at all. The Long Yuan Sect had no choice but to block it. His right hand condensed a galaxy world, wanting to bury the holy light within the galaxy world. But the Long Yuan Sect failed. The holy light pierced through the galaxy world. Immediately after, puff, the holy light pierced through the Long Yuan Sect's chest. Puff, The Long Yuan sect spat out large mouthfuls of blood as his body fell. Go to hell. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up as he rushed towards the Long Yuan sect. This was the best time to kill the Long Yuan sect. He punched towards the Long Yuan sect. The Long Yuan sect, who was originally falling towards the sea, suddenly stabilized his body. There was a bloody hole in the Long Yuan sect's chest. It was incomparably miserable. The attack just now had severely injured the Long Yuan sect, but it was not able to kill the Long Yuan sect. I want you to die, the Long Yuan sect roared out. He condensed his strongest attack, wanting to kill Lin Feng. The counterattack of a ferocious beast before its death was the fiercest and most dangerous. Lin Feng's magic power had already been exhausted. His battle strength plummeted. Facing the Long Yuan sect's attack, he felt a thick aura of death enveloping his entire body. Lin Feng knew that he absolutely could not clash head-on with the Long Yuan sect. Otherwise, there would only be a path to death. If an ancestor-level powerhouse were to fight back with all his might, it was not something he could withstand. Dangerous moment. Lin Feng used the heaven-patching technique. Swoosh. He disappeared without a trace from where he stood. The Long Yuan sect's attack was in mid-air. Damn it. The Long Yuan sect could not help but curse out loud. His body staggered, and he almost fell from the sky. The Long Yuan sect had suffered heavy losses and did not dare to stay. He quickly tore through the void and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Lin Feng walked out from 100 meters away. His face was slightly gloomy. Originally, after the Emperor Bone severely injured the Long Yuan sect, it was the best opportunity to kill him. But unfortunately, activating the Emperor Bone consumed too much magic power. He was no longer able to kill the Long Yuan sect. However, the power of the Emperor Bone did indeed make Lin Feng exceptionally happy. Consider yourself lucky. Lin Feng sneered and did not stay any longer as he quickly left. Chapter 1933. Due to the irreconcilable enmity between the Red Dust Celestial Sect and the Supreme Celestial Sect, the Supreme Celestial Sect had been trying their best to suppress the Red Dust Celestial Sect. The Red Dust Immortal Sect was one of the top 10 immortal sects. However, the Upper Red Dust Immortal Sect was different from other immortal sects. The other immortal sects had long legacies and deep foundations. However, the Red Dust Immortal Sect did not have a strong foundation since it had only been around 3,000 years since its establishment. The Red Dust Immortal Sect was not strong enough to be listed as one of the top 10 immortal sects. However, Immortal Venerable Hong Chun was simply too powerful. He was so powerful that he could fight against an ancient immortal sect alone. Therefore, the Red Dust Immortal Sect was listed as one of the top 10 immortal sects. The Red World Fairy could not stay in the Immortal Sect forever. When she left the Immortal Sect, the Red World Fairy was also worried that the experts of the Taishang Immortal Sect would attack the Red Dust Immortal Sect. If she was not there, the Red Dust Immortal Sect would be in danger of being destroyed. As such, the Red World Fairy had set up the Red Dust Immortal Sect in the extremely dangerous and boundless time reversal sea between the Southern Immortal Sea Domain and the Bottomless Sea Domain. The space-time reversal sea region was connected to the space-time reversal world. The Red World Fairy had set up a large formation. As long as the cultivators of the Taishang Immortal Sect dared to attack the Red Dust Immortal Sect, the Red Dust Immortal Sect would be destroyed. If she wasn't in the sect, the disciples of the sect could also activate the formation to attack the cultivators of the Supreme Immortal Sect. At that time, the cultivators of the Supreme Immortal Sect would be banished into the time and space reversal world, and only death awaited them. If the Crimson Dust Immortal Sect could not withstand the siege of the Supreme Immortal Sect, the Red World Fairy also had a backup plan. The disciples of the sect could activate the ultimate formation and teleport the entire sect away under the cover of the space-time reversal. Therefore, although the Supreme Celestial Sect had always wanted to attack the Red Dust Celestial Sect, it was too dangerous in the space-time reversal sea region. There were many things they were afraid of. That was why he hadn't taken any action. If the Red World Fairy had set up her sect somewhere else, the Supreme Immortal Sect had attacked the Red Dust Immortal Sect a long time ago. The space-time reverse flow sea region was incomparably dangerous, so one could not wander around recklessly. Once he was swallowed by the space-time reversal, it would be a situation where he would have a slim chance of survival. The Red World Fairy was celebrating her birthday. Countless forces came to congratulate him. Therefore, the Red Dust Immortal Sect sent out an ancient ship to welcome the cultivators who came to congratulate the Red World Fairy. Lin Feng saw many cultivators coming from various directions. Some were riding mounts, some were riding airships, and some were flying over. These people were talking about the various deeds of the Red World Fairy. When they talked about something exciting, many people could not help but raise their voices. To many people, the Red World Fairy was like a god that they could only look up to. He fought against the Supreme Immortal Sect by himself. He had killed 3,000 top experts of the Supreme Immortal Sect in one move. From then on, the Supreme Immortal Sect began to decline from its peak. The Red World Fairy's life was full of legends. Lin Feng was also a little excited at this moment. He wondered what kind of person this number one expert of the 9 states world was. High and mighty? Or was he approachable? Or perhaps it was fleeting? Or perhaps he was untainted by worldly desires? Lin Feng's mind filled with all kinds of images of the Red World Fairy. But what kind of image it was, he would only know when he met her. 3 days later, he arrived at the passage to the space-time reversal sea region. It was a passage specially opened by the Red World Fairy. There was a huge ship of the Red Dust Immortal Sect outside. After boarding the huge ship, one could safely enter the space-time reversal passage. This space-time reversal passage was very special. Only the Red World Fairy's huge ship was allowed to pass through. If other ancient ships or cultivators wanted to pass through, they would be swallowed into the space-time reversal world. Therefore, this place was not to be casually broken into. There were countless cultivators who came to congratulate the Red World Fairy on her birthday. However, not everyone was qualified to congratulate the Red World Fairy on her birthday. The disciples of the Red Dust Immortal Sect would screen the cultivators' identities. They wanted to go to the Red Dust Immortal Sect to congratulate the Red World Fairy on her birthday. Either their cultivation level met the requirements, or they had an extraordinary background. The Red Dust Immortal Sect had no choice but to screen their identities like this because there were too many people. The number of guests that the Red Dust Immortal Sect could accommodate was limited. Therefore, only a very small number of people could go in. Naturally, they had to screen their identities. They let the cultivators of the major factions or some itinerant cultivators in. This was the world of cultivators. The strong were respected. It applied to any place. There were 2 places to screen their identities. The first was for the important figures. The second was for the ordinary cultivators. The place where the important figures selected their identities was a convenient passage. There were few people, and it was fast. The place where the ordinary cultivators selected their identities was full of people. Everyone was waiting in a long line. Lin Feng swaggered toward the place where the important figures selected their identities. Many people were pointing and whispering. What was that kid doing there? Impersonating a big shot? If that was the case, he would be thrown out by the Red Dust Immortal Sect, right? But soon, those cultivators who were discussing revealed astonished expressions. That was because they saw a female cultivator who obviously had a very high status actually standing together with that young cultivator and chatting. Moreover, the 2 of them seemed to be chatting quite happily. That female cultivator's identity is not simple. She's the eldest disciple of the Red World Fairy, Enchantment. What? That female cultivator is Enchantment? That's an amazing person. Who is that kid? He's actually chatting with Enchantment. Could he be the successor of a super faction? Or perhaps a direct descendant of a certain giant god? Many people began to discuss. Everyone was very interested in Lin Feng's identity. However, no one knew Lin Feng. After Lin Feng and Enchantment chatted for a while, Enchantment arranged for a female disciple to board the giant ship. The female disciple looked at Lin Feng strangely. Lin Feng said, "What? You've never seen someone as handsome as me? Let me tell you, I'm not a casual man. Don't you dare have any ideas about me." When the female disciple heard Lin Feng's words, she could not help but spit at Lin Feng. She blushed slightly and said, "I just find it strange. Martial Ant and King basically doesn't interact with male cultivators." Lin Feng said, That's because other male cultivators don't have as much charm as I do. The female disciple snorted, but did not dare to refute Lin Feng. That was because Lin Feng might be a big shot. Naturally, an ordinary disciple like her would not dare to offend him. 6 hours later, the giant ship set off. They traveled for about 10 days in the sea. They finally arrived at their destination. In the distance, they saw an immortal island floating in midair. That immortal island was surrounded by immortal chi. It really looked like an immortal island in the legends. That island is called Coiling Dragon Island. It's a supreme treasure forged by a Buddha-level expert of Buddhism. A cultivator said, the Buddhas of Buddhism were great emperor-level experts. This meant that huge island, it was actually transformed from an emperor weapon. She had directly built her sect on top of an emperor weapon. The Red World Fairy was really generous. Everyone, we can disembark from the island, a female disciple said. The cultivators on the giant ship flew toward the island and landed at its edge. A dense group of female disciples flew over. They led everyone to different places to rest. These female disciples should be the menial disciples of the Red Dust Immortal sect. They were of low status. That was why they were sent here to lead the guests. Those disciples with status would attend to congratulate the guests in the palaces, or they would entertain the guests. Senior Brother Lin. Suddenly, a surprised voice was heard. Chapter 1934. Lin Feng turned around and saw a female disciple looking at him. The female disciple was tall and slender, and she had a beautiful face. The most impressive thing about her was her pair of enchanting long legs. Many of the female disciples from the Red Dust Immortal sect who led the way for the guests were extremely beautiful. However, this long-legged beauty was different. She was definitely a person who stood out from the crowd, attracting the attention of many male cultivators. Lin Feng looked at the female disciple in confusion. He had a vague impression of her. However, he could not recall where he had seen her before. The female disciple seemed to know that Lin Feng might not remember her. She said, "A few years ago, I was the one who led you to the core disciple assessment. Do you still remember?" When he heard the female disciple's words, Lin Feng remembered this incident. He had met the female disciple once, and he vaguely remembered that her name was Su Sini. However, this female disciple was different. Lin Feng did not take it to heart. After all, this female disciple was only a servant disciple in the Reincarnation Immortal sect. They basically didn't have much interaction with each other. Lin Feng said, "Weren't you a servant disciple in the Reincarnation Immortal sect? How did you become a servant disciple in the Red Dust Immortal sect?" This was the tragedy of many independent cultivators. If one's talent and cultivation level were not high enough, they could only serve as servant disciples in powerful sects in the hopes of passing the official disciple assessment in the future. However, in reality, very few people were able to pass the assessment. Su Sini gritted her teeth and said, "Senior brother, do you still remember that Zhao Ziping?" Lin Feng nodded. He naturally knew Zhao Ziping. He was considered a genius among the core disciples of the Reincarnation Immortal sect. When he participated in the core disciple assessment, Zhao Ziping was the one who led him to the assessment site. However, Lin Feng did not have much interaction with Zhao Ziping. Su Sini said, "Zhao Ziping wanted? I didn't agree. He wanted to use force. Fortunately, a senior sister passed by and saved me. That night, I escaped." Hearing Su Sini's words, Lin Feng basically knew what was going on. This Su Sini was too beautiful. He was just a lowly servant disciple. Zhao Ziping was greedy for Su Sini's beauty. He probably wanted to seduce Su Sini. If Lin Feng remembered correctly, there was another female servant disciple called Wu Shuaman, who was one of Zhao Ziping's mistresses. Su Sini did not agree with Zhao Ziping. This Zhao Ziping wanted to force himself on her. However, God seemed to treat Su Sini quite well. There was a female disciple whose status should not be lower than Zhao Ziping's. Zhao Ziping could only give up for the time being. However, it was unrealistic to ask that female disciple to protect her. After all, Su Sini was just a servant disciple. There was no need to offend Zhao Ziping for a lowly servant disciple. Therefore, Lin Feng guessed that it was that female disciple who made Su Sini leave the sect that very night. This kind of thing was all too common among the various forces. Actually, Lin Feng wasn't used to it. These beautiful female cultivators had no strength or background. They were destined to be men's playthings. Su Sini was such a hot and sexy beauty. It was normal for her to be targeted by Zhao Ziping. Even if Zhao Ziping did not target her, there would probably be other male disciples who would target her. In the future, she would end up as one of those male disciples' mistresses. If she ended up in a more miserable state, she might even be abandoned after being toyed with by those male disciples. If she ended up in a more miserable state, she might even be given away by those male disciples. The world of cultivators was an extremely cruel world. There were many things. It could not be changed. For example, what Su Sini had experienced. Lin Feng said, "This red dust immortal sect is full of female disciples. It's quite suitable for a beautiful woman like you to join. In the future, you don't have to worry about those things in the red dust immortal sect." Su Sini said, "I hope that one day, I can stay in the red dust immortal sect." The red dust immortal sect naturally needed to be tested. These servant disciples would serve for 100 years. Within these 100 years, they would be given 3 chances to take the test. If they could pass the test, they would fly up to the branch and become a phoenix. If they failed the test, they would have to leave the red dust immortal sect. Su Sini composed herself and said apologetically, "I've delayed senior brother's rest. I deserve to die 1,000 times." Lin Feng smiled and said, "It's fine. Junior sister, you don't have to blame yourself." Su Sini said, "Senior brother, I'll take you to rest now." This time, the Immortal Sovereign's birthday celebration has divided the guest living areas into 3 areas: the younger generation's living area, the middle generation's living area, and the older generation's living area. This division is because cultivators of the same age group will not be reserved when gathered together. There will also be things to talk about and some new friends. Lin Feng nodded and said, "The Red Dust Immortal Sect is indeed very thoughtful. If I were to live with a group of old men, I would definitely be bored to death." Su Sini could not help but chuckle. Under her lead, Lin Feng and Su Sini flew towards a mountain peak not far away. On that mountain peak, there were many palaces. It should be the place where the younger generation of cultivators lived. Of course, it was not that the younger generation of cultivators had to live here. If the younger generation of cultivators wanted to live with the elders of the clan, the Red Dust Immortal Sect could arrange it. However, there were probably not many young cultivators who would take the initiative to live with their elders. It was not easy for them to come out and relax, but they had to do it under the eyes of their elders. Who could withstand such restrictions? The 2 of them landed on a platform halfway up the mountain. There were many palaces here. Su Sini led Lin Feng towards one of the palaces. At this moment, 2 cultivators flew over from afar. It was a man and a woman. The female cultivator was also quite beautiful. After seeing Su Sini, the female cultivator smiled and said, "Oh, isn't this junior sister Su Sini?" "Senior sister son." After seeing the female cultivator, Su Sini bowed slightly. The female cultivator raised her right hand and revealed the bracelet on her hand. It was as if she was showing off to Su Sini. She smiled and said, "This is Sir Sikong Yun from the Great Void Temple. My bracelet is a true god-level magic treasure, and it was given to me by Sir Sikong as a greeting gift." When Sikong Yun saw Su Sini, his eyes lit up slightly. He then said, "It seems like this junior sister did not receive a reward." He then looked at Lin Feng and said in a lofty tone, "Brother, this junior sister is leading the way for you. Aren't you a little too stingy? You actually didn't give anything to this junior sister." After belittling Lin Feng, Sikong Yun turned to look at Su Sini and said with a smile, "I see that junior sister seems to be lacking some accessories. I just happen to have some toys here. Junior sister, feel free to choose." Sikong Yun smiled and waved his right hand, causing hundreds of treasures to fly out. These treasures included pearl hairpins, bracelets, hairpins, and so on. They were all magic treasures that were at least true god level. "Junior sister, which one do you like?" Sikong Yun smiled and looked at Su Sini. This person actually had so many magic treasures that women used. Si Kong-yoon guessed that he often used this method to please women. Now that he was using the same method, he probably wanted to seduce Su Sini. If he could seduce a peerless beauty like Su Sini, it would be wonderful. Chapter 1935. This female disciple surnamed Sun originally wanted to show off her new treasures to Su Sini, but she did not expect that Si Kong-yoon would take a fancy to Su Sini and let Su Sini choose the treasures. This female disciple surnamed Sun joined the sect around the same time as Su Sini. She was full of jealousy towards Su Sini, who had a good character and was beautiful and liked by everyone. Now that she saw Si Kong-yoon's attitude towards Su Sini, she was even more jealous of Su Sini. This female disciple surnamed Sun even cursed Su Sini in her heart for being a vixen. Su Sini naturally did not know that the female disciple surnamed Sun was cursing her in her heart. She bowed to Si Kong-yoon and said, "Thank you for your kindness, senior brother. These things are too precious. Junior sister must not accept them. Junior sister appreciates senior brother's kind intentions." Seeing that Su Sini did not take the bait, Si Kong-yoon's face sank slightly. Si Kong-yoon was also a veteran in the field of love. He had seen countless women, but this was the first time he had seen a woman of such high quality like Su Sini. If he let Su Sini go like this, he was really unwilling. He was about to say something when suddenly, a faint voice sounded. "Junior sister Su does not intend to take brother's things. Brother, why don't you leave quickly? Don't block my way to rest." Si Kong-yoon's face suddenly became gloomy. This kid, a poor bastard, dared to disturb him from seducing Su Sini? What things? Si Kong-yoon narrowed his eyes at Lin Feng and could not help but ridicule. This brother is so stingy that he doesn't even give me a small reward. I want to give this junior sister Su some small things, and this brother wants to stop me? Your stomach seems to be a little small. Although the female disciple surnamed Sun hated and envied Su Sini, she also knew that this was a good opportunity to flatter Si Kong-yoon. So she smiled and said, "A poor bastard should speak less. Senior sister Sun, don't go too far," Su Sini said with an ugly expression. Seeing that Su Sini was actually defending Lin Feng, Si Kong-yoon could not help but feel jealous. He even thought in his heart, Su Sini rejected him. Could it be because she took a fancy to this kid? This kid was just a poor bastard. Why did she take a fancy to this kid and not to him? The more he thought, the angrier he became. The more he thought about it, the more jealous he became. He couldn't help but say mockingly, "Junior sister Sun's words are reasonable. Poor people should talk less." Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, Lin Feng laughed loudly. Everyone looked at Lin Feng in confusion. Su Sini was a little worried. Could Lin Feng have been provoked? Si Kong-yoon's face sank as he looked at Lin Feng with disdain. "What are you laughing at?" Lin Feng looked at Si Kong-yoon with a faint smile and said, "I'm laughing at how ridiculous you are." "I'm funny? What a joke. You're just a pauper, yet you're calling me a joke?" Si Kong-yoon couldn't help but sneer. His gaze towards Lin Feng was filled with deep disdain and a sense of superiority. Lin Feng said faintly, "You have the nerve to take out these pieces of scrap metal? If you're not ridiculous, then who is?" "Scrap metal? Kid, why don't you take out something similar? Junior sister Su led the way for you, yet you didn't even reward her. How dare you call my treasures trash? Are you slapping yourself in the face?" Si Kong-yoon sneered. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. "Everybody is watching. You just took out those things to show off, that's all. In my opinion, there's nothing to show off about them," said Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at Su Sini and said with a smile, "I originally wanted to reward junior sister Su with some things when we reached her residence, but since this ignorant fool is jumping around like a clown in front of me, I'll give these things to junior sister Su in advance." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng waved his right hand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, rivers of origin crystals flew out. Each river contained at least 10 million origin crystals. 10 rivers of origin crystals added together. That was 100 million origin crystals. What couldn't 100 million origin crystals buy? A magic treasure at the level of a giant god. It could buy several of them. 100 million origin crystals was enough to run a top force like the Red Dust Immortal Sect for 3 years. 100 million origin crystals was enough to buy a medium-sized ancient city. If he had 100 million origin crystals, he would immediately become a millionaire. The sight of so many origin crystals was naturally shocking. Countless cultivators in the surroundings were attracted to the scene. Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw the river of source crystals. Not many ordinary cultivators had seen 100 million origin crystals before. Therefore, when the 100 million origin crystals appeared, it immediately caused a huge commotion. What's going on over there? Why did that kid take out 100 million origin crystals? It seems like Sikong Yun wants to seduce the female disciple beside that male cultivator. He keeps belittling that male cultivator to raise his own status. That male cultivator took out 100 million origin crystals to reward the female disciple who led the way for him. What? 100 million origin crystals as a reward? Oh my God! Who is that kid? How can he be so rich? Exclamations of surprise could be heard. Countless female disciples looked at Lin Feng in unison. Then, they looked at Su Sini, who was standing next to Lin Feng. The female disciples from the Red Dust Immortal sect looked at Su Sini with jealousy in their eyes. Why was Su Sini so lucky? How could she receive such a rich and overbearing young master? This. The female disciple with the surname Sun was completely dumbfounded. She began to speak incoherently. When had she ever seen so many origin crystals? Earlier, she had mocked Lin Feng as a pauper in order to please Sikong Yun. Only now did she realize. Compared to Lin Feng, Sikong Yun was the pauper. Junior sister, take these origin crystals. You can buy whatever you want. Lin Feng said with a faint smile. For me? Su Sini still had not recovered from the shock. She looked at Lin Feng in disbelief. That was 100 million origin crystals. It was so big. This was the first time she had seen 100 million origin crystals. She had never dared to dream that she would one day have 100 million origin crystals. Of course it's for you. Lin Feng smiled. Seeing Su Sini's uneasiness, he knew that she did not dare to accept it. He said, I don't take back what I give away. Thank you, senior brother. Su Sini bowed to Lin Feng and put away the 100 million origin crystals. At that moment, Lin Feng turned to look at Sikong Yun. At that moment, Sikong Yun's face was as gloomy as water. He had not taken Lin Feng seriously before, but he did not expect Lin Feng to be so rich. Lin Feng said indifferently, Now you know who's the pauper, right? No, calling you a pauper is not appropriate. In front of me, you're just a beggar. Chapter 1936. How dare you insult me? Sikong Yun's eyes flashed with killing intent as he stared coldly at Lin Feng. Sikong Yun was the sage of the Great Void Temple. The Great Void Temple was a famous Taoist sect. The founder was called Xiao Chuyi. He was known as the Xuanjin Taoist. The Great Void Temple was definitely one of the most powerful Taoist sects in the 9 states. However, the Great Void Temple was different from ordinary Taoist sections. Ordinary Taoist sects propagated Taoist teachings. However, the Great Void Temple only cultivated Taoist techniques and magical powers, not Taoist teachings. Therefore, the people of the Great Void Temple would not wear Taoist robes like other Taoists. They would not abstain from sex. The Great Void Temple was powerful. As the sage of the Great Void Temple, how could Sikong Yun tolerate this? Terrifying waves of energy were emitted from his body, as if he was about to attack. Good fellow, this is getting interesting. Sikong Yun seems to be about to attack. As one of the Great Void Temple sages, Sikong Yun's cultivation can be described as unfathomable. I'm afraid that kid is going to be unlucky. That kid may be rich, but judging from the aura he is emitting, his cultivation is not high. Once they fight, he is indeed no match for Sikong Yun. A group of people started discussing. Obviously, no one was optimistic about Lin Feng. Sikong Yun was a reputable expert. Many people were optimistic that he would be able to enter the prodigy list in the new prodigy list ranking battle. It could be seen how powerful Sikong Yun was. As for Lin Feng, there were very few people who knew Lin Feng. Of course, there were people who recognized Lin Feng, but they just watched the conflict calmly. What? You still want to attack? I can defeat a piece of trash like you with one hand. If you don't want to embarrass yourself, get lost. Lin Feng had his hands clasped behind his back and looked indifferent. Many people looked at each other in dismay. Is that kid crazy? How dare he be so arrogant in front of Yun? Yun might not be as rich as you, but cultivation. It's very terrifying. I would like to see what qualifications you have to be so arrogant in front of me, shouted Yun coldly. He then started walking towards Lin Feng while releasing a monstrous amount of qi in his body. Young masters, please stop. At this time, a woman in a red dress flew over from afar, landed, and said aloud. The woman in the red dress was tall and slender. Her eyes were charming and seductive. She was also a top-grade beauty. Fairy Hongxia. This is the Red World Fairy's 7th disciple, someone immediately said. The surrounding female disciples of the Red Dust Immortal Sect saluted Fairy Hongxia. Seeing that Fairy Hongxia had arrived, Yun did not dare to be careless. He dispersed his spiritual power. However, his expression was still extremely gloomy. Fairy, this kid insulted me. Lin Feng said, the Red World Fairy is the role model of the righteous path. She single-handedly went against the strongest evil sect in the 9 states, the Taishang Immortal Sect. It's my honor to be able to celebrate Master Immortal's birthday. The crowd was stupefied. They couldn't believe their eyes and looked at Lin Feng. This guy was really daring. He dared to say anything. Taishang Immortal Sect. The #1 power in the 9 states world. The leader of the Immortal Tao. Although they were even more evil than the evil demons. However, these words could not be said out loud. Once they were said out loud, they would definitely be on the Taishang Immortal Sect's kill list. When Fairy Hongxia heard Lin Feng say that the Taishang Immortal Sect was the strongest evil sect in the 9 states world, she immediately chuckled. She seemed to be very happy. She smiled and said, Lin Gongzi is really straightforward. There will be a small gathering tonight. At that time, many top experts of the younger generation will come. I wonder if Lin Gongzi is interested in coming to this gathering? Lin Feng smiled and said, Thank you for the invitation, Fairy. Female disciple, what's your name? Fairy Hongxia looked at Su Sini. Su Sini quickly said, Reporting to Master. This disciple is called Su Sini. Good. You don't have to be busy these few days. Just focus on serving Lin Gongzi. At night, you will bring Lin Gongzi to the Hall of Immortals. Fairy Hongxia said, Yes, this disciple will remember. Su Sini quickly replied. Chapter 1937. After chatting with Fairy Hongxia for a while, Lin Feng followed Su Sini to his residence. Lin Feng's residence was called Immortal Dawn Palace. Every guest had their own room. The rooms in Immortal Dawn Palace were very big. Each room was about 200 square meters. It was very luxurious. A palace could house about 500 people. You should go back and have a rest. Come back in the evening and take me to the party, said Lin Feng. Su Sini originally wanted to stay and chat with Lin Feng for a while. Now that she heard Lin Feng asking her to leave, she was a little disappointed. However, she did not dare to disobey Lin Feng. She bowed and left. Bang, bang, bang. Not long after Su Sini left, Lin Feng heard a knock on the door. Senior brother Lin, are you there? A gentle voice came from outside. Hearing this voice, his bones felt like they were going to go soft. Lin Feng was surprised. Who was looking for him? Could it be a disciple of the Reincarnation Immortal Sect? He walked towards the door. Then he opened the door. A beautiful female cultivator was standing outside. This female cultivator had a petite figure and an exquisite face. She had a delicate temperament. It gave people the urge to hold this female cultivator in their arms and dote on her. After seeing this female cultivator, Lin Feng was very surprised. Li Yingdai. It was actually this woman. Lin Feng and Li Yingdai met during the trial on the Outer Realm planet. He remembered that Li Yingdai seemed to be the disciple of Duan Hongxiu, the great elder of 5 Mount Hua in Tianmu Continent's 5-peak state. Back then, Li Yingdai and his fellow disciples went to the Outer Realm planet to train together. Li Yingdai obtained a star moonstone. Her fellow disciples saw the treasure and had evil thoughts. In addition, Li Yingdai was too beautiful. These people did not only have evil thoughts about Li Yingdai's treasure, They also had evil thoughts about Li Yingdai. These people were led by the sect's core disciple, Fan Jinbang. They discussed with Fan Jinbang and planned to take turns with Li Yingdai and then kill her to steal the treasure. After all, anything that happened in the Outer Realm planet, it was easy to bury the truth. The sect had no way of knowing either. Li Yingdai had never thought that her fellow disciples would be so heartless. Because of this, she had been plotted against. Just as he was about to fall into despair, Lin Feng happened to pass by. Thus, he killed Fan Jinbang and the others, who were worse than beasts, and saved Li Yingdai. Later, Li Yingdai trained with Lin Feng for a period of time, until he met Li Yingdai's master, Duan Hongxiu. At that time, what made Lin Feng extremely puzzled was that he felt a dense killing intent from Duan Hongxiu. Logically speaking, he had saved Li Yingdai. She should be thanking herself. However, not only did Duan Hongxiu not thank him, she even wanted to kill him. Lin Feng was also puzzled. She also could not forget the scene of Lin Feng protecting her time and time again when Lin Feng protected her. Now that she met Lin Feng again, she was happy and naturally hoped to spend more time with Lin Feng. However, there were some things. As a woman, it was difficult to say. Lin Feng said with a smile, "Thank you for your blessings, Junior Sister Li." Junior Sister Li's cultivation progress seems to be quite fast these years. Lin Feng said this because he discovered that Li Yingdai had also broken through to the 8th firmament of the Nihility God Realm. Li Yingdai said, "The 9 prefectures are more suitable for cultivation. After entering the immortal sect, I obtained countless cultivation resources that I didn't even dare to think about before. That's why my cultivation progress is so fast. However, compared to senior brother, I'm still far behind." Junior Sister Li is too modest. Lin Feng smiled. Then he said, "Where does Junior Sister Li live?" "I live in the Immortal Rain Palace not far away." Li Yingdai said. Male and female cultivators lived in different palaces. The Immortal Rain Palace was only a few hundred meters away from Lin Feng's Immortal Dawn Palace. Lin Feng nodded. After chatting with Li Yingdai for a while, Li Yingdai reluctantly said goodbye and left. In the evening, Su Sini came to Lin Feng's residence. Lin Feng tidied up and followed Li Yingdai to the Immortal Palace. The man was handsome and confident. The woman was a peerless beauty. When the two of them walked together, it was simply a beautiful scenery. It attracted many people's attention, especially Li Yingdai. Such an outstanding, peerless beauty attracted the attention of many male cultivators. Beautiful women everywhere would become the center of attention. Suddenly, Lin Feng saw a beautiful woman walking in front of him and frowned. Chapter 1938. This beautiful woman was none other than Duan Hongxiu. Even after so many years, Duan Hongxiu was still as beautiful as ever. However, Lin Feng did not have any good impression of this woman. He could feel Duan Hongxiu's killing intent towards him. If not for Li Yingdai, the two of them might have already clashed. Duan Hongxiu walked over and looked at Lin Feng indifferently, saying, "Come with me, I have something to say to you." Lin Feng raised his eyebrows slightly and said, "There's nothing that can't be said to others. If you have something to say, just say it here." "You." Duan Hongxiu's face suddenly sank. She did not expect Lin Feng to be so brazen and reject her without mercy. This made Duan Hongxiu's face extremely ugly. "If you have something to say it quickly. I still have things to do. I don't have time to waste here with you," Lin Feng said indifferently. He naturally did not have a good expression towards Duan Hongxiu. A cultivator who passed by heard the conversation between Lin Feng and Duan Hongxiu and saw Su Sini beside Lin Feng. Many people looked at Lin Feng with envy and jealousy. Many people imagined some scenes. Originally, Lin Feng and the beautiful woman were lovers. Later, Lin Feng met the long-legged beauty. Then, he abandoned the beautiful woman. He got together with the long-legged beauty. The beautiful woman was not willing to be abandoned, so she came to find Lin Feng. The beautiful woman wanted to find a place to talk to Lin Feng alone and then restore their relationship. But Lin Feng no longer had any feelings for the beautiful woman, so he did not give the beautiful woman a chance. Many people were very envious of Lin Feng's luck with women. Many people muttered in their hearts, "Brother, are you stupid? Don't push such a beautiful woman away. Wouldn't it be great to have two beauties? If Lin Feng knew what these cultivators were thinking, he would definitely wail. Young master, I was wronged. Okay? The relationship between Su Sini and I was purer than a piece of white paper. As for his relationship with Duan Hongxiu, this woman wants to kill me. What kind of bullshit relationship was this? Duan Hongxiu looked coldly at Lin Feng and said, You'd better not get in touch with some people. Otherwise, who knows what will happen in the future. In this world, there are too many young geniuses who died prematurely. You should learn from them. Duan Hongxiu was a blatant threat. Lin Feng naturally understood the meaning behind her threat. Duan Hongxiu was so hostile to him. Was it because of Li Yingdai? Lin Feng couldn't understand why he had done that. His relationship with Li Yingdai had nothing to do with Duan Hongxiu, right? Even if Duan Hongxiu was Li Yingdai's master, he shouldn't stop his disciple from dating someone else, right? Moreover, there was nothing between him and Li Yingdai. However, why would Duan Hongxiu threaten him like this? He couldn't understand. He really couldn't understand. Lin Feng planned to find an opportunity to ask Li Yingdai. This matter was too strange. From the first time he saw Duan Hongxiu many years ago. When Duan Hongxiu saw him with Li Yingdai, she revealed her killing intent. After so many years, it was still the same. Lin Feng was sure that there was no interaction between him and Duan Hongxiu, and there was no enmity between them. The reason why Duan Hongxiu was so angry was entirely because of Li Yingdai. There must be a reason for this abnormality. However, Lin Feng was too lazy to say anything more to Duan Hongxiu. He looked at Su Sini and said, Junior sister Su, let's go. Su Sini nodded and led the way. Duan Hongxiu said coldly, Remember my words, or else. What the consequences? You know. Self-righteous and stupid woman. Lin Feng sneered. He left with Su Sini. Duan Hongxiu looked at Lin Feng's back as he left, and a cold light flashed in her eyes from time to time. In the end, she flicked her sleeves and left. Su Sini said, Senior brother, isn't that woman Duan Hongxiu? How did you provoke such a terrifying woman? You know Duan Hongxiu? Lin Feng was surprised. I've heard of her. She caused a commotion a few years ago, Su Sini said. Caused a commotion? Why is that? Lin Feng was puzzled. He could not see how Duan Hongxiu could cause a commotion. Although she was very beautiful, could she cause a commotion just because she was beautiful? There were many beautiful women in the world. She has the legendary heavenly calamity physique. A few years ago, she came from the Tianwu continent and joined the Sunset Celestial sect. She awakened the heavenly calamity physique there. Su Sini said, Heavenly calamity physique? What kind of physique is that? Lin Feng looked at Su Sini in confusion. Lin Feng had heard of all kinds of physiques. However, he had no impression of the heavenly calamity physique. This was the first time he had heard of it. Su Sini said, Cultivators in the world have all kinds of special physiques. For example, in the immortal ancient era, the desolate era, the bronze era, and so on, the heavenly calamity physique is one of the immortal ancient era's 10 great physiques. It's an extremely ancient physique. Since the end of the immortal ancient era, no one has awakened it until Duan Hongxiu awakened it. That's why Duan Hongxiu's status in the Sunset Celestial sect is very high. What kind of physique is the heavenly calamity physique? What kind of abilities does it have? Lin Feng asked curiously. It was one of the immortal ancient era's 10 great physiques. Just from the name alone, one could imagine how terrifying it was. Su Sini said, I don't know. Perhaps only Duan Hongxiu knows what abilities the heavenly calamity physique has. However, it's said that when the physique awakened, many major powers tried to assassinate Duan Hongxiu. The Sunset Celestial Sovereign even personally escorted Duan Hongxiu to the Sunset Celestial sect to cultivate. The Sunset Celestial sect contains the laws of time. 10 years outside is 300 years inside. When Duan Hongxiu came out of seclusion, she was already very powerful. Killing her is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. That's why the powers that tried to assassinate her gave up. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. What kind of abilities did the heavenly calamity physique have? How could it make so many major powers so fearful that they didn't hesitate to assassinate Duan Hongxiu? Lin Feng felt that it was a pity that he hadn't assassinated Duan Hongxiu. If she had died, there wouldn't have been so much trouble. On the way, Lin Feng and Su Sini talked about Duan Hongxiu. Before long, Lin Feng saw a huge immortal palace. It was 300 meters tall and had a majestic aura. It was the Red Dust Immortal Palace. The Red Dust Immortal Palace was one of the palaces where the Red Dust Immortal sect received VIPs. It was built with great grandeur. It was also incomparably luxurious. "Senior brother, we're here," Su Sini said. Lin Feng nodded and said, "All right, you can go back first. After the banquet is over, I'll go back on my own." "Yes," Su Sini replied and bowed slightly to Lin Feng before leaving. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.